you're in my domain. Got the whole crowd screaming out our name. It's a blowout, it's a hurricane. It's over before you know it. Why you shaking? We're a dynasty in the making. We're the royalty. Now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over for the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights for the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory. Yeah, we've waited for our time to come. Calculated everything we've done, we've upgraded. Now you can't outrun a champion. Now you're facing what? Can you hear them? Yeah, it's all for us. You believe them? Yeah, it's serious. Hear the siren. We're victorious. I'm telling you. Can I get a hell yeah? Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this.
you for allowing us to be part of your family. This is Joe Bloomstrom and Lori Bloomstrom, and behind us here is a picture of our son Paul, who is part of the sim racing family, and it's just so cool that you're allowing us to be a part of this, and we really appreciate you thinking of Paul the way you do.
We just wanted to thank you guys. We are so grateful you're doing this in Paul's honor. He really loves this community, and we are hoping that we can raise some funds for St. Jude's charity. We have a special place in our hearts for St. Jude's. They help kids, and we are really grateful.
Paul loved you guys. We miss him terribly. He was a great son, great guy, and made friends all over the world, including all of you. Thank you so much.
Paul loved to go fast, and I hope you guys do too. Thank you.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Hope we're all having a fantastic day. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Vegas Cup Series. We are in for a doozy here today, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope we are all ready for what's about to go down here today. And as we start to go through all of our beautiful information here, you're about to see how intense today really is going to be. So let's get through the details here and get into the good stuff, right? The racing itself. I'm your host, GT45 Gaming. Welcome in. And we're here for a few reasons, and we'll get into that just a little bit more here in a little bit. So, it is round 10. We're at the Nurburgring, 24-hour. That's right. We pulled out the big boy for the biggest race of the season, the finale. It's a double points round, meaning every lap race is worth double points here today. And it will be the biggest scoring round of the season for most of our drivers here. And I got to tell you what, we have a championship on our hands this season. We'll show you more about that in a little bit. So here we go, the Nurburgring GP 24-hour circuit. Oh, this is the most exciting one for me as a broadcaster. I love this racetrack. It is the most difficult racetrack in the world, in my opinion. And it can absolutely make or break racers' seasons. So let's do it right at the end when it's all on the line. And everything is as per normal here, as it is all season long. Random weather, 3 times tire, 3 times fuel. The only difference here is that 90-minute racing distance today. There it is on the schedule, round 10, December 14th. This is the last dance, ladies and gentlemen. This is the last time these racers are going to go at each other here for those coveted championship trophies and those championship titles. And I got to tell you what, when we did the drop rounds here over the last couple of days, and dropped the standings this morning in the server for the drivers with the drop rounds factored in, I cannot believe how close these championships are this season. You'll see soon enough. A little bit about our track here today. It is the Nurburgring 24-hour layout. It is the big layout. 16.77 miles, 25.38 kilometers of absolute monster. 97 right and left-hand corners. It is a tarmac and concrete surface. And oh yeah, it is a real-world circuit and a famous one at that. It has an elevation change of over 984 feet from its highest point to its lowest point. This absolute monstrosity of a racetrack that we call the Green Hell. And I gotta tell you what, one of Paul Bloomstrom's favorites. Vegas Cup Series. This is a charity race series, ladies and gentlemen. So, in the pinned comments in the YouTube channel, in the YouTube chat here is that link to the fundraising campaign here from GT45 Gaming, No Lander Gaming, and Fast Ginger Racing. We do appreciate all the support all season long. We're at $755 US raised so far this season. Absolutely fantastic stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We have a goal of $2,500. It's a big goal. We're far away, but I tell you what, we've got somebody in the background waiting for that number to grow, and they are going to match up to $2,500 of that donation after our All-Star event here in 2026. That date will be announced in the near future here, as we have some scheduling that's going on in behind the scenes for a couple of things going on early in the new year, and one being that last huge push for St. Jude's and the Bloomstrom family. So, with that being said, let's move over to St. Jude's and let them tell you a little bit more.
Year 400,000 children like Justin develop cancer. If he had been born in the United States, his chances of survival would have been more than 80%. But in his native Ecuador, those chances are much lower. In resource-limited countries, survival rates are below 30%. Where a child lives is the most powerful predictor of whether they will survive cancer. There are many contributing factors to the disparity in pediatric cancer survival rates, including access to life-saving medicines.
So access to quality medications is critical for the success of any programs at the country level or global. Children cannot survive, cannot have hope without proper access to essential medicines. This has been something that we have identified as a priority.
St. Jude has long been dedicated to improving pediatric health worldwide. Building on our established global ecosystem of collaboration, we are launching a transformative initiative, the Global Platform for Access to Childhood Cancer Medicines.
We are now able to tackle the rare pediatric cancers and make progress against those because we're working as a global community that will allow us to purchase generic drugs and distribute those to low and middle income countries at no cost.
The global platform works by creating a central procurement entity within the World Health Organization, the UNICEF, and the Pan American Health Organization. Then the governments engage to develop the production and the supply of these medications. And these are the medications that are considered to be critical and required for all children with cancer, wherever they are.
Today, essential cancer medicines are starting to arrive in 6 countries: Ecuador, Zambia, Jordan, Uzbekistan, Nepal, and Mongolia. These medicines, provided at no cost to local institutions, represent the first step in a long-term effort to reach 50 countries and treat more than 120,000 children in 5 to 7 years.
Danny's dream was that no child die in the dawn of life, and he was thinking perhaps about the United States, but I think in the back of his mind he was always thinking of a global landscape. And I see this as the logical direction for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital to go and for the entire field of pediatric oncology.
The global platform is more than a lifeline for children like Justin facing cancer. It's a foundation for a future where all children have access to life-saving care. By working together, we are building toward our founder's dream that no child should die in the dawn of life, no matter where they're born.
Wow, what a great thing that St. Jude's is doing. And that's why we're doing this. We're trying to help raise money for, obviously, that initiative and everything else that St. Jude's has going on. So if you feel it in your heart and your wallet here today to donate, definitely click on that link in the pinned comments here in the chat and follow it, safe, secure, and your money immediately goes to work, whether it be $1, $10, $100, or more. That money immediately goes to St. Jude's and immediately goes to work. You're immediately making a difference and a change in somebody's life. And as we head into Christmas, into the new year, every person that is going through something major, like children sick, needing care, family needs hope, and giving from random strangers, random acts of kindness is hope. Small is mighty. So let's remember that here today. All right. It's very emotional. It's been a very important championship to everybody involved. All right, so let's talk about the race, and then let's go see what's happening in behind the scenes here. We do have that typical 10-minute delay or so for a couple of our racers to get into the lobby here. And because it's finale night, we're definitely going to make sure that we get our racers into the lobby here tonight and give them their fair chance. Yeah, you're all good, Jakey. You're all good, brother. So let's talk about what we got going down here today, ladies and gentlemen. It is a endurance race here today, and it is registered drivers only. It is race for real conditions, and the auto start is turned off. It will be started by myself, the host of the lobby. The track is the Nurburgring 24-hour circuit, and it is a 90-minute event here today. That's right, 1.5 hours of race time here from our racers today due to the length of the track. The weather is completely random, so it is up to GT7's dynamic weather model to excite us throughout the 90 minutes of the racing here. And the drivers are going to have to be on their toes here at the Nürburgring because you don't want to be caught out in the track at the wrong time, at the wrong place, with soft tires or medium tires or whatever the case is going to be here today. And the weather speed is 2 times, so the weather will come and go fairly quickly as well. It is a grid start with a false start check, and the grid is set by myself based off previous racing results. And for those drivers that didn't make a round and they come into the previous round, they just get placed back at the back of the grid. If we have more than one driver that's in that situation, we do base it off championship standings and reverse it in the same fashion. The higher point standings driver will end up at the bottom end of the grid. It is balanced performance on with brake bias allowed only, no tuning allowed. Boost is off, slipstream is real, the damage is on, and it is on light this season. Tires are 3 times and fuel is 3 times, and that is significant today with the racetrack that we're handling here, as it is about an 8 minute to 8.5 minute lap, depending on tire and driver and car. Refuel speed is 9 liters per second. They start with a full tank of fuel, and all of our, of course, effects simulations are set to real. Our shortcut penalties are on weak. We have our flag rules turned on, and our pit line penalties also turned on. The rest of the features we don't need because this is an organized event, and our racers are racers. So we let stewarding officiate anything above and beyond those few game-handled settings. The cars are Group 3 MR cars only. It's been open selection all season long for these racers, and some of the racers have opted to use a bonus enticement this season. If they use 3 different cars and complete those races with those cars, they get awarded a one-time 10-point bonus this season, and a large part of the field has claimed that bonus here this season as well. And there is no required tire in these races this season. It is a 100% open tire strategy type race season this season, and it has been very interesting to see how each of our racers make decisions based from the race, the condition, the track, the combo, and of course what GT7 decides to throw at them. So it's been a great season here. I think that's what's kept it really close as well. And as far as assist goes, we do have the counter steering and active stability prohibited here in the championship, but we do allow all the rest of it. The driving lines, traction control, ABS, and auto drive is not allowed, so players cannot hit the pause button while obviously driving. So let's make sure everything's working here now. Seems like it. Let's see who we have in our lineup here. Looks like we have everybody we're expecting to see here today. And we're actually somewhat on time here, so look at us go. Look at us go. But we're going to give a couple of the racers a few minutes here anyways. They just came from another set of races, so they need to cool down and breathe for a minute before they jump back behind the wheel of another machine and obviously tackle the Nurburgring. So let's just jump on track here real quick, and we'll just hang out for a little bit here with you guys and gals. I mean, these championships aren't anything without you guys and gals at home, the viewers. I mean, at the end of the day, this is why we do it. I mean, this is an avenue for myself as a content creator to be able to try and make a difference in my community or somebody else's community that is completely across the world that I can never see or really technically reach myself, right? So it's really important, honestly, the viewers, you guys and gals that come in and watch every week in and week out, and it's because of you guys and gals that we continue to strive to improve our championships, our events, and our fundraising efforts for great organizations around the world. But this one's a special one, you know. Let's talk about how we end up to today, finale night. 10 rounds of hard racing about to be in the books here in about 100 minutes or so. 18 months ago we lost a friend, a companion, a member of this community, Paul Bloomstrom. It shattered our community. It left a lot of us sad, heartbroken, mad, confused. We just didn't know why. What happened? Everything seemed okay. He was a legend in our community and other communities all around the sim racing spectrum and other gaming spectrums, other content creators. He was a huge member to everybody. I mean, he was infectious. He was hard to dislike. He made an impact in people's lives. He definitely made one in mine. If you can't tell him, this is emotional. This championship means a lot to me personally. So just bear with. Q a year ago, I was at home. I was just sitting outside on my back deck. I was just kind of staring up at the sky, at the clouds, and I decided that, we have to do something. We can't just let it sit like that. It can't end like that. So, I started coming up with ideas. We get to 6 months ago, and me and Nolander get together, and I talk to him about this idea, and he doesn't hesitate. He's like, no, do it. Pull the trigger. Let's get the teams together, and let's make this happen. So we went to work. 4 months later, the official announcement drops. We open registration for the very first annual Vegas Cup season. I mean, holy crap. Wow. The dream is coming to fruition. 3.5 months ago, we qualify for the Vegas Cup Series. We get the drivers set into their divisions, and we start off the season. And here we go 10 weeks later. 9 hard rounds of racing. A lot of good and bad races for all of our racers this season. A lot of heartbreak moments and a lot of heartwarming moments. In our AM division, we have a 15-year-old gentleman running for St. Jude's and for the Bloomstrom family this season. Spectacular. Love to see that. Somebody so young, so ambitious already to help out in their community. That's what this is all about. This is why we're doing this. This is why we're here today. It's all possible because of the viewers, you guys and gals at home, supporting this, supporting the content, supporting the cause, supporting the communities. We appreciate you. Thank you. To Bloomstroms, love you guys. You always have a place in my heart as family. And I can't wait to get this race underway because we know that this is one of Paul's absolute favorite racetracks. Who can't love the Nurburgring 24-hour? Drivers are up against it today. The weather is going to factor in and potentially could factor in and change the whole spectrum of this race. 90 minutes at the Nurburgring is not an easy task. 2 laps at the Nurburgring is not an easy task. These racers are going to do roughly about a dozen laps here today around this racetrack. Pit strategy is going to be key. Tire selection is going to be key. Keeping an eye on that weather radar is going to be ever so important as they navigate around this very, very iconic racetrack. It's exciting times here at GT45 Gaming. And all the hard work comes down to one last dance here from the community, from the racers. There's a foundation here locally where I live. It's a children's hospital foundation as well. They have a saying that small is mighty. Our children are small, they're mighty. A lot of these kids, they fight these issues off without complaint, without remorse, without really understanding why they feel the way they feel. Small is mighty. Let's remember that today. Small is mighty. Alright, I'm satisfied that everything's working. I have been working so hard to dial in this stream, especially for this particular race this weekend, and obviously for the content in the future, but I know the Bloomstrom family is here. I know they're in the background watching, or they will be watching. We really appreciate you guys, and I hope over the next few weeks leading into the All-Star race sometime in January, we can really push this fundraiser over the limit. And I really hope that we can see an even bigger field and an even more competitive field in the Vegas Cup Season 2 next fall. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, there is a planned return of the Vegas Cup Series. There will be a Season 2. It will be coming a little bit earlier this year, probably in the fall. So, with that being said, we will have a second running of this annual series. This is supposed to be designed as an annual championship, and it will continue to be that way, and it will remain here on the Gran Turismo 7 platform as well. This is where it belongs, this is where it was built, and this is where the community was built. This is where Paul raced, this is where he loved to be, this is where it'll stay. Maybe the Bloomstrom family we honor again next season, or this coming season, or it may be something else that happens up until this time and we decide to support somebody else's family in a time of need. Whatever the case is, that is the point of the Vegas Cup Series. And the Bloomstrom family and Paul Bloomstrom is the foundation of the Vegas Cup Series and what it's going to become in the future. But the one thing that's going to stay tried and true here is going to be the charity. We will continue to raise money and funds for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. As I don't know who that was that absolutely just blasted through the racetrack right there, but that was pretty crazy. It was a McLaren. So the racers are they're getting into their rhythm, their routines, so it does appear that everybody's fairly ready, though, so let's set the grid. Just bear with me here. Just had to get the grid pulled up. Alright. We're going to kick this thing in 3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We don't want to stall it any longer than necessary. It is a longer race here today, and the drivers may have somewhere else they need to be here afterwards as well. We are going to have some interviews here also at the end of the broadcast today, so keeping that in mind. We got lots of content for everybody, so we have lots to talk about here, so don't run away right at the end of the race if you don't need to, if you want to hear what the drivers have to say. Definitely stay tuned after the race is over. And we'll break down what was a pretty intense season. I mean, there were some firsts here in this championship season. We dropped an all brand new point system that we based off of other point systems we've seen around other organizations, but essentially we built it from scratch based off of that. We put it into this championship, and the ultimate goal of that was to hopefully by the end of the season still have standings close enough to be worth fighting for our drivers. That's one way to kind of help try and keep the driver retention. When you keep when the points are tight, that's that desire and that drive for the drivers to really fight it out at the end of the season. And we've seen it so many times in so many other leagues across the board where you get that defined champion early enough in the season where people lose interest, and it was too hard to do that this season here because the points were so utterly close. And when we put in the drop rounds here this season, before the drop rounds it looked like there was some defined names on those lists, and then when the drop rounds went in and the numbers came across, it was a completely different story. Even I was shocked. My jaw was on the floor. The point system did almost everything that our theory and our brains had. Not to say that it's perfect, it's far from perfect, but it definitely has some potential here, I think, and that potential is about to go out on track here because this point system has brought us to this point here right now. We are 1 minute away from a green flag, ladies and gentlemen. Un minute. Good luck, racers. We'll talk about these standings when we get a moment here within the race, ladies and gentlemen. We will bring that up. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, for the last time in the Vegas Cup Series annual season, number 1, we race for 90 minutes. One race, one champion. Let's go green, kick them tires, light them fires. Let's go racing, and we're green, and we are off. Ooh, a little bit of a touch there in the backfield as the Ferraris again get a pretty good launch, but these two McLarens up front here, driven by Jay and ATB, both also get a very equal launch as we're side by side heading into the first corner, and as we head into Mercedes Arena, we are side by side with a little touch, a little bit of an accordion effect here, but it looks like everybody's A-okay. So it did hold up that mid-pack a little bit, which does allow JA and ATB to kind of wiggle their way up ahead a little bit here. Supra was up in the third place with Sheriff in fourth, Dylan in fifth, Jakey down into sixth, Mysterious in seventh, and JP in eighth. So there was the accordion effect there, but it does not constitute into what we like to call a red flag situation. Everybody stayed on the track and nobody is carrying damage, so it was a little sloppy, but we're racing here now as we head up the GP circuit here at the Nurburgring, 24 hours. Welcome in, Pie Studio. How you doing? Love that. Great. Welcome in. Welcome to the stream, my man. Welcome to St. Jude's charity fundraising event. All right, so Jay said here, won the very first race of the season this season, looking to finish it off on top here again. And well, we've all seen that story in recent real-life content creator history here as well with Super GT, much like their team did at the Nurburgring season in the Bilstein Group 4 car. They won the first race of the season and finished off on top. Jay looking to repeat that here himself, but ATV's giving the business here as they're racing side by side. And Jay's going to just tuck in behind ATB here as we head into the Beetle chicane, or the Schumacher S, I guess this is essentially. Here, Supra in third place, and ooh-wee! Sheriff went to go make the move there, and the car just broke free, and oh, he is going to slide it backwards into the wall there, and oh my goodness, that was a great attempted pass there that just went wrong for Sheriff Doofy here. Let's go take a second look at that, and oh boy, cold tires and coming off that curb there, and the car just didn't regain that traction, and boy, he was just along for the ride there for a while, wasn't he, ladies and gentlemen? Whew, he will recover from that. The damage is on light. It will go away. He's definitely on the back foot here, but this is the Nurburgring GP, or 24-hour, pardon me, and well, they don't call it the green hell for any reason, ladies and gentlemen. It bites back. So at any moment in time, any one of these drivers, especially in these mid-rear engine cars, can make a very easy mistake, catch a curb the wrong way, like we just saw there from Sheriff. And, well, we could be hang on. Here we go. Dylan now up into third place there with that little exchange. Everybody's trying to make sure that they didn't get caught up in that moment there by Sheriff. Super here in fourth place. JP's up into fifth position with Mischievous just in behind there in sixth place. Jakey here in seventh position. Oh, the Lamborghini Huracan, love it. And Sheriff here in eighth place. So they're all grooving here now, and see what we got. See what we got from the pro division. Alright, so ATV here now leading the charge on the very first lap of the race, and look at these beautiful cars on the racetrack. Absolutely great stuff. So what we're going to do here at the end of the season is we're going to compile all of the fun liveries. So at the beginning of the season, we challenged the racers to come up with retro liveries, you know, kid-style liveries, your favorite cartoons, your favorite video games, your favorite shows, your favorite things as growing up as a kid. Most of us are, you know, 30s and 40s plus year old racers, right? So we have come from that 80s and 90s generation, right? And so we challenged our racers to really get creative this season, and boy did they respond with some absolutely great liveries on the racetrack all season long. So we're going to compile a big composition of those liveries, and we are going to have a voting contest, a viewers voting contest with all of the liveries from the Vegas Cup Series Championship, and we're not sure how we're going to format or handle that quite yet, but we are going to definitely put that up for viewers vote, and we are going to award a fan favorite livery here this season as well at the end of the championship season. So it's going to take a little while to compile all of that together and get it in a format that works, is functional, but it doesn't end for the admin team and the staff, unfortunately. When these championship ends, that's just when the work begins, because that means we got to get back to the drawing board. We got to get back to coming up with what's next on the agenda for the community event racing, right? So Dylan now up into second place, and he is a few points behind here in the championship point standings, and we are going to talk about that a little bit here when the race dies down a little bit. But we do have a battle here for the race lead now between Dylan and ATB. A little bit of a touch between the two there, but no harm, no foul. She's narrow racing here at the Nurburgring. And we do have, of course, GT7 lag. We also have to factor in here, which is also a potential. So sometimes this contact is completely unintentional. We just have to go with the flow. But it is Dylan now in the race lead here as he does move up ahead of ATV in second place. Super now has moved up into third place. Jay did make a small mistake there. It cost him a couple of positions there. He's now in fourth position. He does have Miss Devious now closing in here in fifth place, and JP here in sixth place. So Miss Devious has moved up a spot here as well, and now applying some pressure here to TT's J set here in front as well. JP now in the train, and this is becoming a three-way battle for fourth place here, and it's all Porsches? No, it is a McLaren and two Porsches. All right, Jay's in the McLaren here, so rock and roll as we head into the carousel. This is an interesting part of the racetrack where pavement goes to concrete. You really want to tuck the car into that concrete nestle. You got to hold that line. You don't want to pop out. Popping out of there is going to slow you down, potentially even cause you potentially go into the wall. So it's going to be interesting to see what the tire strategies are here from the racers. It looks like the racetrack is absolutely beautiful out here today for the racers, and this three-way battle is starting to heat up. This is very tough to drive nose to tail in these GT3 cars around this racetrack without making a small mistake or an error, catching a piece of grass. I mean, anything can happen here. So Ooh, doggy, let's stick with this here for a minute, as this might get a little interesting here as we are into a very high-speed sector of the racetrack, and you really kind of just want to hold your line. You've got to be patient. You've got to make the move when the move is available to you, and sometimes the move might not open up until you get all the way to the end of the lap when you hit that huge, long back run into the final chicane leading into the start-finish line and the pit entry area. So it's some great racing here as we got Supra and ATB nose to tail. They're up in second and third position. We see Jake just in the background there in that Lamborghini starting to close in on this three-way battle for fourth place here as well. So it's Nurburgring racing at its finest. Dylan has it charged away here, 3.3 seconds up the road from Supra in the Ferrari here in second position. But ATB, he is still right there too, 1.2 seconds in behind. But boy, the pack is closing. And the Davis looks like she gives a little tap there, a little bump drop push to J-Set heading down the hill here. And they have closed up on that third place driver. And now this is a four-way battle for that final podium position. And this is just lap one, ladies and gentlemen. We should expect to see 11 to 12 laps here today in this 90-minute event. And if this is how it's going to be, these drivers are going to be white-knuckled all the way through this race here today. But boy, oh boy, this has now become a four-way battle. Oh, and Q Jakey, five-way battle now for P3 here as we head up the Nurb. We are almost down to that back straight here in the line. These final few corners are so important. Oh, Miss Devious catches a track edge, and oh boy, that's going to put her around here. Can she keep it out of the wall is the big question. And, oh, Sheriff Doofy's coming around the corner here now. He sees the yellow flag. He does see that slow-moving car, but she is on the straightaway there. So, oh, my, you hate to see that, but she just got a little bit of a wide entry there, and that may have been due to dirty air potentially or just miscalculation on the turn-in. Great save, however, though. She keeps it straight. That is what you call a 9.8 out of 10 on the save scale right there from Ms. Devious. Tires are definitely going to be a little warmed up there, but she has a long straightaway to gather herself back up and settle back in behind the wheel of the car. She loves this racetrack, so she will not be deterred by that. She will get back on her horse, and I don't think this will be the end we see of that Porsche yet. Hey, hello from Phoenix, Arizona. Hashtag racing for Paul. How's it going, Josh? Hope you're doing fantastic, my guy. We did something a little special for you guys at the beginning of the stream. If you missed it, for the friends from family, for the viewer, for the members watching. So if you go into, I want to say about the 8-minute mark of the stream after the championship advertisement, there's something I put together just a little extra special for you guys. If you want to check it out if you missed it. Alright, so we've had a little change here now up at the top right. ATB still holding on to third place. Jace is still in fourth, but Jakey now has moved up into fifth place. JP's solid down into sixth place. Miss Stevie's here in seventh place, 5.5 seconds in behind, and now Sheriff very close in behind, 2.9 seconds. So, little miscue there, and that is what we were talking about. When you're driving nose to tail like that around this racetrack, it is very, very difficult racing. I mean, you have to worry about the car in front of you, you have to worry about where they're braking, where they're turning, you have to worry about the car that's in close proximity behind you, making sure you don't overbrake and cause anything there, have them contact you. So I mean, you really have to trust your instincts when you're in those situations. And like I said, just unfortunate there from Miss Devious. The car shot wide in the corner there, caught the grass, and the thing just immediately spun around on her. But great save, which definitely saved her a lot of time in the long run there, I think. But it is J-Set here. You start to feel a little bit of pressure now coming from Jakey here in the Lamborghini. We got JP in the sixth position here, and Jakey's just been what Jakey's been doing all season long. He's not really seeming to be too overly in a big hurry at the beginning of the race. He just settles into the race, tries to maintain a good pace and a good rhythm, and ends up where he ends up. And I got to tell you, he's 2 points off that championship here this season. And if there's anybody here I know that wants that championship for a personal, meaningful reason, it's definitely going to be Jakey here. So you can't tell me that it's not on the back of his mind here today, even though he's literally just come from an endurance race again. It's definitely probably sitting on the back of his mind a little bit here. That would definitely be nice to secure this thing for himself here this season. But he's in competition over Super, and Super currently is sitting in second place ahead of him. That is what Super needs to do here today to maintain that very slim margin of the points that he has over JP. So the race is far, far from over. Anything can happen here at the Nurb, and we'll just see how it all plays out. That's what we're here to do, and we'll let the drivers decide how everything shakes up here today. So Dylan, he's gotten away quickly. I mean, he's got open air. He's had no pressure. He got through that battle for the lead real quickly, and he finds himself 6.3 seconds on the road here. So he is absolutely flying right now in that Porsche 911 RSR. Now, there was a little bit of an update change, a Spec 3 update. They did make some balance performance changes to the Group 3 cars, and that has definitely affected some of the cars that are most certainly sitting on track here today. But the Porsche got a little bit of a buff in a sense. It got lightened up a little bit, which should make it a little bit quicker on the top end. And if it's not already fast enough in the corners, it's probably made it a little bit better in the corners even as well. But it is now Jakey in 4th place here. And oh boy, we got somebody. It looks like it's Jakey in trouble here now on the edge of the racetrack. And that is how easy it is to get it wrong at the Nurburgring GP. So he just finished making a move there around, looks like JP. He gets it, at the curbing, just unsettled his race car a little bit there. And that's a little odd there. He didn't really seem to be in any trouble coming around the corner right there, but he got that Lamborghini on that high center on that curbing, and I guess that's all it took to really unstabilize the car. So you hate to see it. Unfortunate there for Jakey. That puts him back into 8th place here, but we have an hour 17 left on the clock here yet. We have a long ways to go before this race is over, and we've seen a few of the drivers already make those mistakes and cost themselves position due to those mistakes. So we are far from seeing that here today. I think 5 seconds now in behind Jakey. So let's see what happens as the racers continue trekking up the Nürburgring 24-hour here. That is random weather here this weekend as well. So that being said, drivers do have to keep their eyes on the weather radar. If they start seeing the change in the skies, or the lighting starts to change on the racetrack, that's typically a sign to pay attention. If the wind goes with a dramatic wind change or wind speed direction, that's typically a sign that something is moving in or around the racetrack. The drivers need to be really paying attention to that. So tire management is going to be really key here today. Obviously strategy management is going to be key with not knowing exactly how the race is going to handle itself. ATB making a mistake there that allows JP to get through JSET to move up into 4th place, and ATB settles down into 5th place here. Just a little mistake, just got off track there, and that cost him enough momentum to lose a couple of positions. And that's why these drivers are in the pro lobby. Even though they make the mistakes, they close back up those time gaps quickly, and they are still there to take moment of opportunity when a driver makes a larger mistake, a 2 second, 3-4 second mistake. Is going to cost these drivers typically 2 or 3 positions on the racetrack here. Dylan currently has an 8-second gap, so it wouldn't quite cost him a position per se, but it would definitely cost him precious time on that gap he's trying to build over Superboy here right now. JP now up in the 3rd place. He's got some clean air here, and he's just trying to get into his rhythm here now. So 3 seconds in behind Supra in 2nd place. JSET has been closing back in here ever so slightly as well here in 4th place, with ATV just trailing in behind there in 5th place. They had a good spicy battle right at race start there too between the two of them. 10 tenths was devious, was starting to charge up through the field there, and then we seen the mistake heading through the final corner into the back straight there, and now starting to close back in on the pack herself as well. Sheriff here is also starting to close back in on the pack now within 1.3 seconds of his devious, who's just 1.2 seconds off the pack, and Jakey is 5.3 seconds in behind those two drivers right now. Just he's got to lock himself back in. He's got to get back into his rhythm. He's probably feeling the car, seeing how the car is doing, and then he'll get back to pushing, hopefully, to his pace here again and continue tracking up the racetrack. You never know what's going to happen at Nürburgring here, so you just got to go with it. All right, Dylan, though, is moving, cruising, and getting a little bit of space here now as the drivers start to settle into this race. So the great little early fight there, and now it's going to be a little bit of try to maintain your consistency. Don't give up that free time here. Miss Devious with a half-second track limit penalty there. It's going to make her pay at that long run on the back end of the racetrack there. This is where the penalty serving zone is, so it's going to cost her some time and momentum. It's about a second probably. It's going to cost her in the long run things, but it won't take her out of the fight here by any stretch of the imagination, as the pack is really only separated by less than a dozen seconds currently, and on this racetrack that's not that much time. Alright, we're just assessing. We're looking at situations. We definitely got some different tires going on here on the racetrack as well. Oh no, we lost the racer. Oh, rip. ATV disconnecting from the lobby here, and that is heartbreaking. We hate to see that. Sorry for that, brother. But he will still be awarded the 30 base points available for the race here today, which all drivers are awarded the moment that the green flag drops. So he is awarded those 30 points here today. He will be awarded with lap raced points plus that times 2. So he's still coming out of the day here with a solid 34-point run. Obviously, he's not going to make the impact he was looking for in the point standings on the finale here, but there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, at the end of the day, we're at the mercy of the servers, internet connections, and all the things involved with technology nowadays. And the unfortunate reality of championship racing is drivers disconnect and get popped from the lobbies. And if we knew why and how it happened and how to prevent it, it wouldn't happen, right? So we treat it as a mechanical failure on the racetrack, and it's unfortunately day done for the ATB crew here today at the Nordschleife 24 for the Vegas Cup Series. But that doesn't take away from the fact that we really appreciate him being here all season long, racing this championship. ATB knew Paul. He knew Paul well. ATB is an OG member of the winner's circle here in this community here at GT45 Gaming and many other sim racing communities, and he's known Paul for much longer than I've even known Paul. He was here. He's here for Paul. He's here for the family. He's here for the foundation for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. His heart was here for what the championship is, the purpose of the championship is this season, not for that championship trophy. Everybody has their reason for being here this season, and whether that be here for support for the cause and the family, or whether it be for a championship trophy, they're all here for their reasons. And ATB was definitely a friend with Paul, and I know that he's going to be disappointed that he didn't get to finish this race here today, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he was here this season, and he gave it everything he had. He didn't leave anything left on the racetrack this weekend, and unfortunately for him, the car just didn't have enough in it to take him to the finish. It's just the way it goes. So we're down to 7. Small is mighty, ladies and gentlemen. That is the phrase of the weekend here for GT45 Gaming in this race. I mean, we are on a mighty racetrack with small race cars and very, very small points margins. Small is mighty. We don't have a full lobby here today. Our lobby's been dwindling down as the championship season's been going on. It's getting close to Christmas time, so that is expected to happen. And at some point when a racer misses too many races and the points just don't look good, they just, they lose interest. So some of that is some of that, and some of it is just people are busy. So we're down to an 8-car field here this season, and endurance racing is grueling. The championship season is grueling. Cars take wear and tear. They need maintenance. The drivers take wear and tear. We need maintenance, and some teams make it through and some teams don't. That's just racing. That's how the sport goes. That's how it breaks down, and that's how it rolls. So, the ones that survive and the ones that are left are the ones that get to cross the finish line at the end of the season. And it doesn't take away from any racer that has been here and gone throughout the season. Regardless of what their situation is, they came, they gave it all they got, and hopefully we see them back next season. Alright, so Miss Devious has now closed in on Jay's side here as well in 6th position. So Miss Devious is closing in on the back here. So Dylan is 11 seconds up the road. Supra is now feeling the pressure from JP here. Jakey has moved up into 5th place. Sheriff has moved up into 4th place. So let's sit with this battle for P2 here right now between JP and Supra, as they are basically nose to tail here, just a car length separating the two of them here. And JP is in the VR2 headset here racing this weekend, and 1010 Devious is also in the VR2 headset racing this weekend, but she's also using an H pattern shifter with her setup here on Gran Turismo as well. So 2 VR racers here in this race here today. So that always throws an interesting perspective into the race. And it's interesting to watch how their lines are and how they see the racetrack in comparison to the rest of us racers that are racing off of our computer monitors or a TV or whatever the case may be. They have such a way more interesting look at what's going on around and in front of them. I wish I had them. And honestly, I would totally love to try it and show some content. So, a little bit of a touch there between the two drivers, and we're going to just have to take a little look at that there. And I mean, this is just racing at its finest here. So Supra goes into the corner, JP goes down, Supra goes to make the corner turn in, maybe not aware that JP is there. Supra goes a little wide off the racetrack there, and JP continues up the racetrack. I mean, that in my opinion, is just a good hard battle and a mistake made by a driver there, but that's not for me to decide. I'm just a commentator. So what the commentator says on the live streams too is very important. That is not necessarily what happened or what has gone down. That is literally just a perspective from what we have caught live on the racing stream. We have a stewarding staff in behind the scenes that handles incident situations if the drivers report those situations. So we have a great stewarding staff here at GT45 Gaming camp here. You know, they're racers, they're experienced sim racers, they're top level sim racers, and they're also racers that aren't competing in the championship as well, right? They are in a sense designed to be unbiased opinions. So and they're thorough. I mean, they are very, very thorough. I mean, it's been a tough season this season for the stewarding staff. They've had to look at a lot of incident reports involving server lag and net coding, which makes it almost impossible sometimes to determine if there's really somebody at fault there, if you just got to write it off as a racing incident and let bygones be bygones. But there's always consistencies in replays between POVs. If the racers are saving those replays, and you can find those consistencies. If you can find those consistencies in the net coding POVs, you can break down a much more informative guess of how that incident went down, regardless if the servers were lagging or not. So, you know, you try not to assess penalties with lag involved, but at the same time, the drivers are still responsible for how they handle the machinery on the racetrack and how they handle themselves off the racetrack and during these championships, right? So, you know, the rules have to apply there. If they've done something wrong, and clearly, regardless of lag or no lag, you know, if it's just determined that, regardless, that outcome is going to happen in that situation, you know, the stewards will assess the penalty. And they're very thorough in how they, you know, break those down for our racers as well. So, you know, I always like to give the stewards a huge shout out, especially in a season finale. You know, they give up a lot of personal time to deal with that. You know, sometimes it creates, you know, arguments and drama in a sense. However, our racers are pretty good with that. And it's a tough job, and it's a thankless job at the end of the day. So I appreciate what the stewarding staff does at GT45 Gaming. I mean, they have a tough job, and we have a very intense rule book, and they follow it to the law. So consistency is key, and the one thing that the stewards are very, very consistent. Checking in from South Dakota, hashtag Vegas Paul. Welcome in, Rebecca. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, like that stream. Liking is the big thing here on YouTube now. This is the future of YouTube. The likes are what's going to force YouTube to continue to push it out to other people's news feeds. Not the shares, not anything else. The likes are what is important here as we move forward now. So definitely don't forget to hit that like button for us on the way out if you wouldn't mind. Even if you're just stopping in for a quick hello to see what's going on. It takes half a second to do, and it's absolutely free. That's the best thing about that. And for the sake of St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital Foundation, share the stream out to your networks, your own social networks, wherever you need to send them, and let them know what's going on here. We are not done here with this finale tonight for the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital Foundation or the Vegas Cup Series. We will have one final event in January 2026, which is still yet to be put official date on, because we have some scheduling things that need to be done ahead of time. And we are going to have a very special event with the top 5 pros, our top 5 pro-ams, and our top 4 ams. And Nolander will be in the booth with me co-hosting that event. And what I can tell you is it's going to be a 3-series race set, and it's going to be absolutely crazy fun. So you definitely want to keep an eye on the socials. We'll make those announcements once we get everything officialized for everybody. And so in January will be the last dance here for this particular fundraising effort for St. Jude. So over the next 5-6 weeks, sharing the content is important as I go live, so we continue to push for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Let's get everybody in here for that all-star race event in January once we have that date solidified, and let's absolutely blow the doors off this fundraiser, because we have somebody willing to double up to $2,500 this season in this fundraising effort. So we are at $755 coming into today. Let's donate, donate, donate. And the only way that that can be successful is sharing the content out. That is the only way that that's going to help St. Jude's. So likes don't help St. Jude's, but sharing does. So with that being said, sharing is the important thing here today from GT45 Gaming, and we got a sequence of pit stops happening here on the racetrack, and I think that is as good a time as any to bust down what's happening this weekend, right? All right. So this is our official round 9 weeks of racing in. And what we see over on SimLeague Pro, which is a site we use to register our championship drivers, track our standings, and all our information we need for things like drop rounds, we go to simleaguepro.com. It's a great site. We're a verified league over there, and we'll be using them more and more in the future, as well as we continue with great championships and community events from GT45 Gaming. So this is what we end up with after we take the 2 worst rounds from every single racer in the Pro division. We did this for our Pro-Ams and our AMs as well. And this is where our points sit coming into today's race. It is Rad Superboy with 325 points, and very close in behind in second place is ERA's Jakey with 323 points. 2 points after 9 weeks of racing separate that championship here today. Dylan's very close right there in third place with 318 points, and it is still mathematically possible for him to overtake Supra, but it is a big stretch. But he's given it everything he's got here today. TTJ sets only 1 point in behind Dylan there in 4th place, and JP there in 5th place with 310 points. So 20 points are separating the top 5 drivers, and we have our top 6 over 300 points coming into the final round of the season. You don't see points that close, I think, in any other racing or motorsports event like that. So the point system has done its job. Sheriff is very close right there with 290, Doug Barrow with 285, Streeter Tom with 279, and 10 Tenths Mischievous with 252. And then some of our racers that didn't make many of the rounds, Roses with 121, and GT Jersey there with 107. But boy, oh boy, that top half of the grid there is absolutely close, and position means nothing here today. Laps race do mean something for the drivers, but where they finish here today, it means everything for these drivers. They want to overtake the next driver in those standings. So that's where we're sitting right now, as we are literally 28 minutes into this 90-minute race here today. Let's go. Pennsylvania is here. Thanks for the support and ambition, guys. Blake, we appreciate you, dude. My guy, you guys, the Blumstrom family, we love you guys so much. You're in our hearts always. And I can't wait to do this again next year. I really can't. I'm already excited about season 2. So, ATB, I'm so sorry. I'm gutted for you, buddy. I'm sorry that the servers poo-pooed on you and you didn't get to finish this race this season. But I know you gave it everything you got this season, ATB, and nobody's disappointed. Don't be disappointed, please. You came out here for Paul this season, and he is absolutely sitting above you, smiling, patting your back right now, telling you, shake it off, buddy. The next one's another race, another day. You got it. We love you, brother. Thank you for your support. You accomplished what you came here to do, in my opinion. You made a difference today, all season, over the last 10, 12 weeks. Every one of these racers has made a difference. They've made an impact. They've changed, helped change somebody's life for the good, just by being here and participating in what we're doing here this weekend. And they've bought into this championship, and they've bought into what this championship is about, and they've given it everything they've got for this championship. So I'm just so thankful. Very, very thankful. Ten-4. Oof. Oof, dirty tires. Can he hold it on there? Yes, he can. All right, so we're going to go take another quick peek at that. So we're just kind of looking through the field to see what was going on here after the pit stops. And we had a battle happening between Jake and Sheriff Doofy. And Jake got a good run here on Sheriff as we headed around the corner there. And I don't know if it was just a case of overspeed there or a reactive move there by Jake. Maybe he thought he was going to tap Sheriff there. He went a little bit wide on purpose, but it did shoot him out into the grass a little bit there. And he, again, having to recover that Lamborghini Huracan here on the racetrack. So Dylan is 16 seconds up the road after the pit stop here. And that puts Supra in second place here with... Did he make a pit? I think he did make a pit. I don't think he took tires. So interesting strategy choices going on here. JP here in third position, closing in on Supra. We've got Sheriff here in fourth place as well. He was about to be in a battle with Jakey there, but has got himself a small amount of breathing room. We got Jakey here in fifth place, and just behind his 1010 Miss Devious here in the Porsche 911. And she's been close, slowly but surely, closing her way back up into the field with Jay in seventh place here, also clawing his way through the field here as well. So after some pit stops, the field has changed just a little bit here. So let's get back to the racing. Well, you know my inbox is always open, ATV, and if it's something that needs to be handled by our officials, you know what to do. You know what to do, my guy. Gotta tell you, we end up with really great championships at GT45 Gaming. It's because of the racers. I mean, it's a small field here today, but you know, these are dedicated racers. These are returning racers here at GT45 Gaming. They come and support almost everything that we do here at on GT7. This particular group of racers, and you know, as we head out of the Vegas Cup Series, you know, there's a lot of question marks on what's in store in the future for championship racing from GT45 Gaming, because we have new sim titles out there on the market, right? And I mean, I can't answer that question right now, ladies and gentlemen. I really can't. But what I can answer for you is GT7 has built this community and really is the staple of what this community is. So GT7 will never ever go anywhere. GT8, GT9, whatever the case may be, GT will always be a staple of GT45 Gaming. We'll always house big championships here at GT45 Gaming. I mean, how can we not? The game is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it looks so good. It gives us everything we need for a broadcast value. And it gives us really good racing. Drivers are comfortable on the platform, they know what's going on, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to branch out to other sim titles for other community-based events and championships like this one as well, per se. So we do have new titles out there, and what does the future entail for championship racing for GT45 Gaming? And I mean, that's what I mean. I can't really fully answer that, but I can answer that the Vegas Cup Season 2 will be coming back next fall, or this kind of fall 2026, with a new rendition. So what we do at the end of the season, and this is one of my favorite things too as well, is we're releasing a document on the server at the end of the race, and what that document entails is just a link. When you follow that link, and it takes you to a Google style document, and what it is just a questionnaire about the championship. You know, how was their experience in the Vegas Cup Championship, what were their likes and dislikes about the Vegas Cup Series Championship, and then of course there'll be an optional feedback box underneath for them to give suggestions if they want, or feedback on something, you know, and that's kept completely 100% unanimous. So we've done it differently in the past, and we get decent feedback, but I feel like we're not getting enough feedback because some of the racers maybe feel a little dissuaded because they're talking to somebody, one of the admin staff per se, right? Which is how we used to do it before. So this way it stays 100% unanimous. We don't know who said what. We have no tracking, no way of knowing who said what. We don't ask for who the racer is when they're putting their input in. All we're asking for is honest, 100% honest feedback. And then what happens is we take that collective feedback, we put it all together, and anything that, you know, comes up a bunch of times, or if there's something that just looks like a great suggestion or a great tweak or addition to something, you know, we will sit down and have an administration meeting after the fact with the development team, the admin team, and everybody involved, and we'll work all that out. We'll go through that, and then of course we also sit down and have a big discussion about any potential online league regulations, which is our rule book, the OLR we call it here, and you know, we make any adjustments that need to be made or tweaks that need to be made to that rule and regulation rule book. And you know, due to that collective teamwork from the racers to the organizers to the leagues to the sponsors to the partners to whoever's involved in the racing, it develops championships like this. It allows us to become better, become stronger, become more organized, and become more efficient, which really allows to put on great racing events. And I mean, at the start of the season, we were stacked. We had a stacked pro lobby here. Now the pro lobby's been suffering a little bit on numbers this season. It is what it is. That's how it goes. But our pro am and our am lobby, that's being broadcast live at Nolander Gaming on YouTube here right now. We do have 2 other divisions racing live right now as well, beside these pro racers on another broadcaster station here on YouTube at Nolander Gaming. And he does have our Pro-Am and Am division race live going on right now. And you know, the story over there is much of the same as the story is here. The Pro-Am division is separated by mere 2 points. between two of the drivers over there, and those two drivers that are fighting for that Pro-Am championship are also fighting for the biggest prize of it all here this season, the overall points champion. So the overall points champion gets an additional trophy this season and is the Vegas Cup Series champion, the defined champion of the championship. So there is divisional championships, which we're watching right now. Our championship is still yet to be decided here for the division. So once this race is over, we will figure out who our divisional champion is. But our overall champion for the whole championship series, this involves the pros, pro-ams, and ams, comes down to overall total points amassed throughout the season. So with the point system that we've placed and how we've placed it and how we've operated, and did have to make an adjustment to it mid-season as per our rule book, we were allowed to make that adjustment. It has created what we have here, but what it also has done is it's put two Pro-Am drivers in a position to become the Vegas Series Season 1 overall champion. How cool is that? You know, you're a Pro-Am driver, you enter a championship like this, you're already being rewarded with a cool divisional trophy, you got all that pride, you know, you've worked hard, you've earned that trophy, and then, ta-da! You just beat all the pros in points as well, and you are the overall champion. Could you imagine the feeling as a Pro-Am driver being named an overall season championship champion because you scored better points than the pro drivers? They're all on the same settings, they're all on the same point system, there's no advantages or disadvantages there, and you would suspect that in most of these cases the pros are going to put in a higher lap count than the Pro-Ams, but that has not been the case this season. The Pro-Ams have held a decent pace, and they've put the lap count pressure on the pros this season. So with that being said, it is Pro-Ams fighting for the overall championship on top of their own championship today. So there is huge implications on that race in the Pro-Am side of things over at Nolander Gaming here today. Today we're crowning a Pro Divisional champion, but Nolander's crowning our overall champion, a Pro-Am champion, and an Am champion here today over on his lobby as well. So there is plenty of racing action going on here right now. As far as the Vegas Cup Series Championship goes, ladies and gentlemen, sharing is caring, says Josh. You know it, brother. Hasn't been the phrase of pretty much a championship here for us leading in today, but today it is small is mighty, because you know what, our children are small, but they are mighty. You know, they're resilient. They don't complain. They don't understand what's happening. They don't know why they feel the way they feel. But all they do know is that, you know, mom and dad or grandma and grandpa or their brother and sister is there with them while they feel the way they feel, keeping them there, keeping them smiling, keeping them laughing. You know, that's why our children are small but mighty, and that's the phrase this weekend, and that's the phrase as we move into the All-Star race. Small is mighty, and well, you might see and understand why small is mighty might come into play when we get down to the All-Star race. So, JP and Supra here. Supra is coming off a moment on the racetrack. JP's taking advantage, slips right through there, and moves up into P3. Supra still gathering up his car there. Looks like he's trying to get a little bit of dirt off his tires, and now that's going to allow Miss Devious to try and move up here as well. She's found her way back into P5. Jakey here in 6th place, and Jason in 7th place, and boy, things are getting interesting here. So if Jakey finishes ahead of Supra off of the podium and they have the same lap count, Supra will remain the champion here for the Pro Division. Jakey would essentially need to finish in 2nd place right now, get fastest lap point, and Supra would have to finish in 4th place for him to beat Supra by 2 points. So he could take 3rd, Supra could finish in 4th, and he could take the fastest lap on the racetrack, and it would give him a 3-point advantage over Supra, which would give him the win by 1 point. So there are some different scenarios at play here right now. Supra's on the winning side of those scenarios at the 4 at the time being, but you just can't count Jake out. He's an experienced sim racer, he's a fast sim racer, and he's put a lot of miles in already today, so that might, you know, be a part of, well, you know, him just taking it easy. But at the end of the day, you know, he knows what to do, and he knows the cars, he knows the racetrack, and he's not done fighting here yet today. I can assure you of that. He's just cool, he's calm, he's collected here right now, and he's moving and grooving. One of our racers in our AM division here today will be tackling the Nurburgring 24-hour circuit for the very first time in his career here as well. 15-year-old young man. His father's also in the Pro-Am division in the same lobby with him there as well. So You know, they've been racing together all season long, basically, you know, rooms beside each other, and kind of doing it as a family as well. So that's a cool story all in itself in our Pro-Am side of things. You know, we got a father-son racing in the same race. They're in different divisions. They're racing their own races, but they're still on track together with each other, working together, practicing together, and doing it together as a family. And, you know, Paul was a family man. He had boys. He had a family. He had a beautiful wife, you know. And, you know, that's what's important. You know, that's what makes this special. You know, we've brought families together on this racetrack for this event as well. So it's really cool. There's a lot of good storylines breaking down here today, and I can't wait to see how all of it ends up at the end of the day here today. You know, season finales are always they're stressful leading into it. You finally get that thing done and over with, and then you get in behind the scenes, and you know, it's a couple hours of the racers thanking, you know, the staff, and the staff thanking the racers, etc., etc. You know, it's emotional, mushy moments. It's no different live on the stream. You know, typically we're not emotional and sobby and you know, stick it to the heartstrings kind of type content creator, really, unless we're doing something like this for charity. But I mean, this one means so much more, like I said, to myself and our community and our team and our racers. This is, you know, personal. It's for a friend, it's for a comrade, it's for a member of this community, and it's also for a charity that family supports themselves. So, you know, this is a big championship. It doesn't seem like it, but for those behind the scenes and those that are involved and those that are a part of us that have been here all season long and in the chat as well, you know, viewing and watching and coming along for the ride with us, you know, it's very important to us on a level we've never done before here at GT45 Gaming. So for that, I'm very thankful. And nothing's ever smooth sailing, I tell you what. There's always bumps in the road, but, you know, we made it through, man. We made it through. All the game issues, all the game updates aside, you know, all the things that happen behind the scenes, you know, we're here. It's 10 weeks later, we're still racing, and we still have a competition on our hands. You know, there's a fight for this championship left on this racetrack with 47 minutes left. So it's far from over. So JP's starting to close in on Miss Devious. Miss Devious now up in third place here. So I mean, everything is changing constantly here. Dylan's just cruising up here in first place right now. He is happy. He's tickled pink. He's just trying to maximize every single thing he can right now. Try to utilize the point system to his full advantage here today to really try to see if he can overtake that championship. He's a two-time defending champion here at GT45 Gaming right now. He's coming in with back-to-back championship wins in our last two bigger championships we put on here. So this is a trifecta for him if he can pull this off. And boy, what a doozy it would be if he can come back down from 9 points in the finale to overtake Super and Jakey. Wouldn't that be a story? Wouldn't that be a story? I mean, we can't make this up. We can do everything we can to try and create close championships. You know, within the setup, within the race setup, within the pit strategies of the race setups. You know, we can do everything we possibly can to try and keep championships this close. This is one of the closest championships I've ever seen in my 5 years of content creating so far. When you look down the standings as a whole, so. I don't know. What do you think, winners? What do you think, yeah, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think, racers? I mean, I think that we're onto something with this point system. Like I said, it's definitely not perfect. It definitely needs some refining and some fine-tunement. I think we've learned a ton from it this season. And if it's going to give us this kind of standings and this kind of tight championships moving forward in the future with some fine-tuning and some great feedback from our community and our racers, I mean, we could really change the way that that championship community racing happens in the sim racing world here. I tell you what, it's definitely something different. Ooh, Miss Devious is riding that curb. She was doing a little mid grind there on that curb. She's trying to fight off JP and Jakey here. So this is a three-way battle for that podium position. And you know, I said don't count Miss Devious out of this race. She loves this racetrack. This is probably a racetrack she has probably the most miles on. She knows it extremely well, and she happens to be in the Porsche, which just happens to be the car that she knows this track here very well. And she's up against great competition on the racetrack. These are all pro-rated drivers here, so I mean, they're all fast, they're all efficient, they all know the track, they all love the track. However, though, it comes down to who crosses that line in front of the other one at the end of the day at racing. And boy, this is a great three-way battle here. Just up ahead is Sheriff in second place. They're 3.3 seconds as well. So depending where we are on the racetrack, these drivers can see him up there, which is just even more incentive. So I guess the bigger question is, do they choose to battle? Or do they play nice, close in on Sheriff, and turn this into something even bigger for a P2 battle? So looks like Jakey had a wiggle there and lost touch a little bit with the back end of the pack there, so he is going to try to close back in. We've got 10-10 Mischievous and JP now battling it out here for P3, and this is a battle of the VR2 headset drivers right now. This is beautiful. I love this. This is going to be a fun battle. So you have to keep in mind, right, in VR2, they see exactly what they're looking at. So if they want to look out their right mirror, they have to look at that right mirror. If they want to look out their left mirror, they have to look at that left mirror. You know, if they want to look at they got to try and get a peek at that rear view mirror, because turning their head all the way around to look behind them in this situation is not feasible. It's dangerous. You're just going to wreck yourself or somebody else, so you don't do it. What they are looking at is all they see. They do not have the peripheral that we have on monitors or TVs. They do not see the whole cockpit, the whole outside of the racetrack. Some of us, depending on what our FOV is, our field of view, we can see even a little bit beyond behind us in a sense on the race car. We can really broaden our viewing point, so we just got to flick an eye over to take a look at those crucial mirrors that we need to look at. You know, these VR2 drivers do not have that ability. They are keenly relying on what they're looking at, what they can see, what they know is around them, and their sheer instincts. It is something completely different. So it is fun to watch VR racers race against each other. And you know, if we had more of them out there, maybe we do, maybe we have a ton of them out there, and I just don't know. A VR championship series would be absolutely incredible. Alright, so this is a great battle here. We're going to stick with this here for a moment. I mean, like I said, bigger question is here, do they decide to battle, or do they just choose to continue to try and push closer up the Sheriff in second place, try to open up the gap with Jakey in fifth place and behind? Now, Jakey is 2 positions ahead of Supra, but that doesn't mean anything in the grand schemes of the standing points, because it's a point per lap. So they're on the same lap count, they're on the same point scale. There's no points advantage for Jakey finishing in 5th and the Supra would finish in 7th. There's no points advantage there. You don't get any bonus points for finishing in 5th and 7th place here this season. You get them for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and you get them for fastest lap. That's it. That's where the bonus points lie. It's a very limited pool of bonus points, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons why the standings have stayed relatively close this season as well. So, with that being said, I mean, Jakey needs a podium finish here. Supra needs to be off the podium for Jakey to have a chance. Dylan's got everything working in his favor here right now. He's in the lead. He's got the fastest lap currently on the racetrack. I mean, he has maximized his points, the pace of the race, and he's trying to maximize lap count. If he can even gain 1 lap on these racers here today before this race ends, if that's the case, he can gain another additional point. He may be able to pull off a championship upset. So, I mean, there is 3 stories here this weekend in this championship race, in this Pro Division race. That's where we're really at with it. Never mind the battles that are going on in underneath the top 2. I mean, there's still individual battles for final position changes here at the end of the season. It's not just between a couple of drivers, it's between the top half of the racing field this season. So every point matters today, and it shows in some of the drivers here. You know, every single driver is leaving nothing on this racetrack today, nothing. Now, whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, I guess that's to be determined, but that was the pep talk that the whole group, the Pro-Ams, the AMs, got the same pep talk here today as well from myself in the Discord. We just told them, you know, don't leave anything on the racetrack here today. This is the last dance, you know, and send it, you know, give it everything you've got. Obviously within, you know, racing etiquette and racing rules, but you know what? It is what it is. It is what it is. I gotta check Discord here for a second. Spam, so we're good. We have to catch that right away, or it gets ugly. Alright, back to the race here. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. 3rd and 4th place. people get into your Discord server and they're bots essentially, and those bots have links attached to them, and basically any channel that bot can access once they get into the server, they just spam these links in your server, and your server starts popping off with all these crazy pings, and it makes everybody upset, and it's annoying, right? I mean, they're not friendly links, right? You don't click on them, you don't follow them, you don't chase them, because then what that does is it basically turns your account into a bot, and then you start spamming all your servers you're a part of, and it's a vicious cycle, right? So when you see those messages come up, I'm immediately in my server checking them, because we've only had it happen once so far in 5 years with the server, and because of that, we are changing the server completely after this championship. As a matter of fact, leading into the new year, we're going to be rebuilding the GT45 Gaming Discord server. A couple of reasons. One, to beef up the security for the safety of our community. Obviously, that's priority number one, is our community that's in there, because it's not just racers in the Discord server, it's just general gamers and also just general fans and friends of the family of the community, right? So, you know, it's a gathering place. It's a social gathering place for the community to hang out and be with each other and escape from the real world for a few minutes if they need to. So we want it to be a very safe environment for everybody. So that's the first reason why we're doing it. The second reason why is to better suit the Discord for championship events. You know, like I said, we have a plethora of sim racing titles that have just come out, and there's more coming in the near future as well, right? So I mean, that means that we're going to have to broaden our horizons a little bit and try to see if we can create events on other great platforms out there to, you know, boost the community, build the community, and expand the community to a wider range of racing community. And that's always the goal, because the bigger the community, the bigger the impact, right? The more people we have, the more numbers we have as a community, with the same goal in mind, to keep giving back to our communities or other communities that we need to help. You know, that's just a pathway to success. So I started streaming, you know, to make money, to be like every other guy out there, to try and quit my job and just rely on playing video games for the rest of my life to survive. You know, you know, it turns out it's not something that's easy to do, and you know, that I'm glad I didn't make a rash decision and like quit my job or something before I started streaming 5 years ago. But you know, 5 years later, you know, it's not about that anymore. It is, I mean, the page needs to make money, it needs to pay for stuff, it needs to maintain itself to an extent. There's equipment costs, you know, there's maintenance costs, there's subscription costs for us to stream, be able to do things, you know. Thankfully for me, you know, our graphics and a lot of the things that we see on the stream are provided by community members on their time and love for what we're doing here. It's because they believe in what we're doing here. And you know, that's always the goal, is to find more members out there, more sim racers out there that believe in the same values and the same things, and continue to build off of that and build something so strong that when we go to make that impact, it's massive, and we're not just making a tiny little nibble in the grand spectrum of the world, but we're making a wave, you know. And that's now why I do what I do here at GT45 Gaming. It's not about being able to quit my job and do this full time anymore. And I mean, if I could quit my job and do this full time, we could put way more weight into it and probably, you know, make the content 100 times better, obviously. But at the end of the day, you know, the greater purpose is to keep doing what we're doing, you know, through content and changing the world one sim race at a time. I mean, I'm not the only creator out there that does it. I'm not the only community out there that does it in this sim racing community. You see it all over the sim racing community, and that's the right path, and that's the right goal, because when you think about real life motorsports, it's big business, it's big money, but they spend a lot of money, and they do a lot of great in their communities, and they give back. And those racers, you know, they're a community and they're a family themselves, even though they're competitors on the track. You know, off the track, it's a different story, and they do the same thing that we're doing here in our virtual world. The two worlds are no different. The only difference is we don't pay $500,000 for our race cars, and if we wreck them, we get in a lot of trouble. You know, if we wreck our cars here, we hit the reset button and we try again. But the impact is no different. The impact is no different. Alright. Race has settled down a little bit here. Race leader's gone. 22 seconds up the road here right now. He's checked out. He's potentially the only racer that hasn't made a big mistake here today, and that is the reason why we're seeing such a large gap from him here. Obviously, not making the mistakes is going to be pretty crucial in a race. The Nurburgring is an absolute treacherous racetrack. It's very, very difficult to not make mistakes here, even if they're small ones. So, you know, to have not a perfect race, but a pretty flawless race at the Nurburgring over 90 minutes really says a lot about potentially preparedness of the driver coming in. We got JP here up into 3rd place right now. Miss Devious down into 4th place. So these two have been battling it out pretty hard there for that position for the last little while. JP is now on the head end of that battle. Jakey, though, is closing in 1 second in behind, and now Supra is right in behind Jakey here in 6th place, just 0.6 of a second in behind it. We keep missing poor Jay here. Jay in the McLaren here is just a little bit in behind the pack here in the 7th position. But I mean, this is Nurburgring, man. He's still out there. He's got that car rolling as hard and fast as he can. This man, he is just on a charge. Let's jump on board with our race leader here for a moment as we do a few corners around Nordschleife here. We're in a very high speed sector here right now, and then we're going to come into a very sharp left-hand corner that's going to be taking an absolutely insane amount of speed here, and it's terrifying as a racer. So we're going to jump on board with Dylan here as we head through this corner. I mean, you're 140 miles an hour through this left-hander here or better. So what do we got there? 143 miles an hour as you come through the corner there. You're basically barely lifting off the throttle there. And then you just come into this massive, hard hairpin right-hander that takes us into the absolute infamous carousel here. So I'll let you guys enjoy this. Stuff here. Let's go through the field here. I mean, the races are all in kind of different spots on the racetrack here. So Sheriff Doofy, he's in the McLaren 650S here today as he comes around. He's looking for a nice strong race finish here this season as well. He's missed a couple of races this season. That's mainly why his points are where they are. I think he missed one extra race above the 2 drop-round races this season, so he's kind of down about a 40 stack of points. If that was the case, I would put him somewhere right in around the top 4 drivers this season. So even though he hasn't had necessarily a lot of top podium and finishes here this season, his finishes that he has been in here have been worthy enough points to keep him right in the fight for the championship if it wasn't for that extra missed race. So he's going to be looking for a nice strong finish here for himself this season as well. And I mean, everybody's always looking for a good strong race at the Nürburgring 24-hour circuit, but JP's tracking here 2.5 seconds in behind here as we come through that section of the racetrack. And now we're in another very high speed part of the racetrack here. This is all about throttle rhythm, getting the corner just right, cutting the curb in the right spots, and not unbalancing the race car. You unbalance the race car in this sector and it can be absolutely disastrous for the car, the race, and the driver essentially. So I mean, you can see it's just a lot of shifting and it's just a whole lot of braking etiquette through this section. These drivers are maintaining roughly 100+ miles an hour through most of this section of the racetrack, so they are absolutely zipping around this mountainous winding terrain of the Nürburgring GP. We got an uphill undulating off camber into on camber corner with big curves, and then we start moving back on the opposite camber downhill here again. We got a huge drop off right here. Thunk. Got to make the corner, so you got it. Timing is just so crucial here at the Nürburgring. You got to keep it tight here. There's a bump here that can cause the car to snap sideways on you. You can see a little jolt there from JP as he comes down the hill. Miss Devious here in 4th place is closing in here on JP as well, just 1.3 seconds in behind. And JP is all over the rear end of her car here as we head into the final run here, and this is what leads us into that very long back straightaway. And you can see there's just no remorse on this racetrack. Everything is just 100 mile an hour, 100 mile an hour. A little bit of a slower corner there, as you see the drivers are forced to drop down to the lower gear. They dip down to about 70 mile an hour, but I mean, here it's all about commitment, and you got to commit here in order to get as much speed out of this corner. Use all of the exit here, and a little bit left behind there from 10 tenths Miss Devious, but she does just open the gap up on that Lamborghini in behind. But unfortunately for her, Jake is going to just tuck into that slipstream here in the Lamborghini. And let's see if he passes, or let's see if he gives a push here. He is going to give a push here. All right. So some strategy being played out here from ERA's Jake. He's behind 10 tenths Miss Devious here now. He is going to, nope, he is going to take a look. Does she know he's there? Yes, I think she caught him at the very last minute there as he moves up the inside. And we are battling it out here for P4. We're going to stay on board here with Jakey as we take a look. You can see now that Miss Devious has settled in behind the Lamborghini here. snag that, jump back out real quick and go take a look at that from the outside view there. And just a little bit of touch there between the two drivers. And again, you know, peripheral vision is a big thing in this game. And when you have VR and non-VR racers, sometimes there's just unintentional contact. Now that might have been a case of that, or it's just good hard racing between the two of them right there. But needless to say, Jakey gets the job done, gets the position, and moves ahead of 10 tenths of Devious here. So Mr. Devious now settles in behind Jakey there as they continue around the racetrack. So we jump back on board here with Supra in the Ferrari 458 as he heads around the GP circuit here. I believe this is Goodyear curve? I think that was Goodyear curve. And I believe it's Dunlop, if I'm not mistaken. I get it mixed up all the time here. But Superboy here, this is our current championship points leader coming into the round today. 2-point margin over Jakey, and Jakey's looking to try and change that here right now as he lurks towards JP on that podium. But again, pit strategy is going to be crucial here today, and I guess we'll have to wait and see how it all settles out. Now, with that being said, we also have to consider that round 10 could be a drop round for a racer. It could potentially fall into a racer, the worst racing round for the season, and that can completely shift the standings again. So we cannot discount round 10 as a drop round. We did the points this weekend just to give the viewers and the fans at home more of an idea of how the championship is looking with both those drop rounds factored into 9 weeks of racing. But with that being said, round 10 could very well be a drop round for one of the racers, which could completely change the way that the standings look again. The subtlest changes when the points are this close can completely change the way that the standings look. So we do have to do our due diligence on the back end once everything's official and make sure that the right drop rounds are in the right place to make sure that our right champions are crowned, especially with how close these championships are. If we end up in a points tie for a championship, the first thing we do is we go to a driver's win rate, and we go see how many races they have won in comparison to the other driver they're tied with. And if we still end up with a tie, they won the same amount of races throughout the season, we will take it down to podium finishes. If we end up with a tie still on podium finishes, then we're going to have to take it down to overall season average finish. And if that doesn't break it, I don't know what we would do there from there. Honestly, we haven't ever had that issue yet, so hopefully we don't. And maybe it's something we need to think about, but it may have to very well come down to the finer detail of points earned before bonuses to determine that champion, you know, something like that, right? But hopefully, like I said, it doesn't come down to that. But we do have a three-way tiebreaker system up to that point anyways, so it'd be pretty crazy if we had to go past that, in my opinion. That would be something else. Alright, so it is Dylan here. Yeah, I mean, he's just running away with this race. 31 seconds away. Ooh, Sheriff just coming off oopsies there. He's on a purple sector, too. Oh, I hate to see that. But he was mowing some grass there as he got a corner a little bit wrong on an entry there as he was coming from a hot exit, it looked like. And that's going to allow Jakey to now start to close in. So Jakey has made his way around JP. Jakey is now in third place and he's on the podium. So what does that mean right now in comparison with our sixth place driver in our current championship? Points leader Supra? Nothing. Supra still wins by 1 measly point at the moment. So at the moment, Jakey needs more. He needs to either A, get a fast lap point here before the end of the race and maintain third place, keeping Supra off the podium, or B, he's going to have to get more points, which means higher podium positions. Bridget, the Blonsford family wants to thank you all for love, support, and keeping Paula in your hearts. We wish you all a Merry Christmas. We love you, Bridget. We appreciate you, and we hope that you've all enjoyed the championship here this season so far. And I mean, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We got one more big-time event in January. We're gonna throw to really send this off, and we're gonna do something pretty crazy and pretty fun. Something that Paul would have most certainly have loved and enjoyed. So. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. It's the championship will be over, but the fundraising efforts continue for about another 5 weeks here or so. So We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep sending this, and we're going to try and hit that goal, and that's the big thing. So All-Star Race will be announced in oncoming days here, ladies and gentlemen. It's something I want to find and set in place before the Christmas holiday, so it's just a scheduling thing right now. I have a couple of new events, obviously, that have come up in New Year that I need to schedule into the streaming content, and then we can schedule the All-Star Race. We wanted to get full focus. We wanted to have my full attention, so it needs to go somewhere where it doesn't collide with another organized event that we have going on here. So just bear with me here, as we will be working on that over the next few days here between myself, Nolander, and the admin team to get all of that 100% sorted out. Obviously, I know my graphics team is going to want to know as much as possible, as soon as possible as well, so we will have that information. What I can tell you guys about the All-Star Races is going to be a 3-race event. It's not going to be 3 long races. They're going to be sprint-style races, and they're going to be 3 completely different races. These races are designed for absolute fun, to blow off a bunch of steam at the end of the season and showcase our top drivers from each division and raise a little money for charity. This is what we do with our All-Star Races after big championships. This is something that we enjoy doing, and we always make them pretty spicy and fun. I believe our last All-Star Race was a LMPH or an LMP1 race at high speed ring with full boost on. It was an absolutely insane race, and then we did it in reverse after we did it in forward on top of it. So, I mean, it was crazy racing. It was a ton of fun. The drivers had a massive amount of fun. It was a blast, and we're not doing that this season, I can tell you that much, but we definitely got a stack of 3 races coming for the All-Star Race that are going to absolutely just be incredibly fast, funny, chaotic, and out of the norm from GT45 Gaming, because, I mean, like I said, Paul was out of the norm, man. He enjoyed some crazy combinations, and that's what we're going to bring. Whew, it's going to be hard to decide if there's a storybook ending here for Dylan right now, too. I mean, this is turning out to be a pretty interesting race here. Dylan has potential here. I mean, he's 9 points behind. He's currently sitting in first place. Okay, so that's essentially three extra bonus points. He's got fastest lap, which is an additional 2 bonus points. If he can get across that line with a lap in hand over Supra before the timer runs out, that gives him an additional 2 points. That gives him 7. It's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. But boy, is he ever giving it everything he's got. You just never know. I mean, Supra finishes 2 laps down below him. Now we've got a discussion. So it's going to be hard to get 2 laps on a racer in 90 minutes at the Nurburgring. But with the way, of course, the live timing works in the game, we can only maximize track length at 3 minutes at the end of the race. So when currently Dylan, our current race leader, crosses the line in 22 minutes, if he's still the race leader in 22 minutes, that starts that 3-minute timer. The rest of the racers behind him will only have 3 minutes to finish the current lap they're on. Depending where they are on the racetrack, they may not get across the line in time, because this is, like I said, an 8 to an 8.5 minute racetrack, depending on the racer, the car, and the tire compound. So that could play in to potentially an extra 2 points for Dylan over Supra as well. So, I mean, I don't think it's mathematically impossible. It's definitely not mathematically impossible. But I think it's very, very improbable. Still got a great battle here between JP and Misdevious, but now Jakey's up in the second place, and now we've got a discussion here. And Jakey's now holding fastest lap on the racetrack as well, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, things have just gotten extremely interesting here. All right, so I don't even know what to say. Jakey's currently sitting in second place. He's got 2 bonus points over Supra right now because he's in second place. There's 2 bonus points for second place. That ties him with Supra for the championship points lead as it stands right now. However, he just plopped in an 8:15, 8:57 on the racetrack, which also currently puts him in the spot for 2 additional bonus points for fastest lap, which currently puts him 2 points ahead of Superboy for the Pro Championship. Oh Oh my, things are getting interesting here. We said watch out for Jakey. He's cool, he's calm, he's collected, he's got a plan, and I know for a fact that Jakey wants to win this Pro Division title this season for Paul. I know he does. So he's in a position to potentially do it now. Let's see if he can get it done. Dylan is still in this conversation. He can still be the wrench in the program. And Supra's not done yet either. He has raced exceptionally well this season. He comes from another community. We know Supra quite well from another community. They have great racers over there, but the competition level in the pro lobbies typically over here is a little bit step above, typically. No offense to that great community, they have great racing over there, but it's always a lot of mixed lobbies with pro-am, pros, and ams kind of mixed in the group over there. You know, it's a small community, racing community. They just like to race against each other. It's not so much about who's faster than who, but let's just fill the grid and have good races over there. It's a great vibe over there. Love that community. He's come over here to this community where the competitive racing is competitive. You know, it's a very stingent rule book here. The racers mean business when they're on the racetrack here, and they take no quarters. You know, if they don't forget. You know, you make crucial mistakes over and over again. They're going to play on those crucial mistakes, and they're going to utilize those mistakes to their advantage to beat you on the racetrack. So he's come into a different type of racing here. He's got great pace, and I think that he's refined some of his racing pace in this championship. I've watched him grow over the last 10 weeks here from being a highly over-aggressive driver to starting to make more conscious decisions as the season has started to end here. He's realizing that the tires play a role because the lap times, the pit strategies play a vital role. You know, he's starting to really refine himself on the racetrack this season. And I mean, we always have learning to do. We can always be better, and we can always perfect something a little bit more when it comes to the racetrack. And at the end of the day, there's always going to be somebody faster than you, and that's just the way it is. But that push, that motivation, that drive to continue to get better for yourself is really what pushes these racers to get better. And, you know, we're seeing that from a lot of our racers this season, and Super is no exception to that. So, regardless of what happens with this championship here today, I mean, he's one of those guys that goes into Discord. He's confident, he's high energy, he's always positive, and irregardless of what anybody says to him or tries to knock him down a peg, he just doesn't waver. He is a very confident, high energy gentleman, and he comes out and he gives it 110% every single race day, every time he's on the racetrack. You can't take that away from somebody like that. So I mean, he's come leaps and bounds this season, in my opinion, compared to previous years of racing that I've watched him in. And to see him sitting here fighting so hard for that championship, it's a very well-earned fight and battle that he's in here today, and he's up against some of the best in our community. So, you know, he has come a long ways. And that's what this is about. You know, the racers are here to compete against each other and beat each other, but they're also here to learn from each other and pick up on each other and get better on each other and pick each other up when they're down. You know, that's what it's always been about here. And for those of us that are in the Discord server, in the GT45 unit Discord server, for those of us that might not be in this championship but have been in past championships, you know, for the most part, the vibe in the championships and in the Discord server is pretty chill, pretty cool, pretty calm, pretty collected. We have our moments just like everybody else, but they're pretty few and far between. And at the end of the day, the community handles it like a family. They handle it together, you know, and, you know, it's no different here on the racetrack. But Dylan is flying away with this race here. So, I mean, like I said, he's giving it everything he's got right now to try and take that championship storybook ending away from these two, Jakey and Super. But Jakey has responded. He's responded to what he's up against here today, and he's got himself in the position to steal that thing away from Superboy here. Now, what happens here on the track and at the end of the race today is what we call official, unofficial results. It is unofficial because we still have the process of incident reporting, stewarding, appeals, and officiating. And of course, obviously going through the points and double checking all the numbers and all the work to make sure everything adds up. So there is going to be a good solid week's time before we really have those official results, which will be followed up with announcements for everybody as well to just make it official. So we'll try to give you the best idea we can here live on the show here today, and obviously we'll progressively talk to these people as it stands the way it sits here today. But good fights, good battles all season long throughout this Pro Division. We had different race winners a lot this season here, especially in the Pro Division. And you know, we've seen a lot of adversity face Miss Devious. Oh, just went for a ride there. She got through the grass there. It looked like she had recovered it quite well there. She got back on the track, but then when that car kind of settled back down on the track there, it just lost it with all that grass on the tires. She managed just to keep it out of the wall still, which is incredible. The Queen of Saves here today, here in 4th place, but unfortunately that cost her some time on that podium there, but doesn't lose a position due to the mistake, so field is starting to space out a little bit, and the Pokemon Porsche here is absolutely flying up the road here in 1st place with a 25-second gap over ERA's Jakey. We still got 15 minutes on the clock here yet. We're probably going to see another sequence of pit stops go down. And as JP comes around, he's definitely going to be one of those drivers that's looking for a pit stop here. Miss Devious might be good for about one more time around, and that's about the majority of the field here. Now, this is where things get interesting because Supra's already made that pit stop. He made it a lap ago, so he should be on his final run for the checkered flag here with that pit stop. Jay said here in 7th place has that pit stop to make the closing in very quickly on Superboy there as well. So when these drivers pit, he's going to gain that time back on these drivers, but how much time is he going to gain back is the bigger question. I mean, the pressure's mounting, the time is ticking with 14 minutes 20 seconds left on the clock. I mean, this is when the drivers start to feel the heat. I mean, it's been a long race, it's been a long day, it's a tough racetrack. Mother Nature cooperated fully for these racers here today so far up to this point, so I'm sure they're very thankful for that. Us as viewers are a little bit saddened that we didn't get to see a little bit of chaos with the rain, but at the same time I do love a good solid Nurburgring 24-hour race as well, so I do like to see the drivers just have a good solid run at it at times as well. We've had our rain this season, we've seen the chaos this season, so I mean, we'll just let dynamic GT weather do what it does here today. Alright, so here we go. Race leader into pit lane. Let's stick with our race leader here as he comes in. Watch the crew service this race car. Love this function about GT7. You can watch these guys work. Tire guys are done their job. They can't touch the car now. The fuel man is putting the car in. He is cleared. Now the lollipop goes up and the driver can head back on out to the racetrack. Love it. Absolutely great stuff right there. I mean, you know, Gran Turismo has its advantages. What can we say? Oh, it is such a pretty game, isn't it? Beautiful game. Alright, JP into pit lane. Miss Devious is going to be next to you. She is into pit lane. Sheriff coming into pit lane. Where is Supra? Supra's just coming down into the braking zone here right now. Dylan's out. Jakey's out. Where does JP come out? JP is out. Where does Miss Devious come out? Miss Devious is fueling. Sheriff is also fueling. Three seconds in front of 1010's Miss Devious. Super does come out there as she comes out of pit lane. Sheriff just comes out in behind her, and Jay is just heading in for his final pit stop here as well. All right, so there we go. This should be the last pit stop of our day here today. We should see these drivers take this thing right down to the checkered flag here. Now the question is, have they accounted for an additional 3 minutes of potential racing past the 90-minute clock of fuel in these racing cars? So what will happen at the end of the race here today if there are drivers still rolling on track? Their position will finish exactly as it finishes when the timer runs out on the racetrack. Now, with the replays being unable to be shared this weekend due to the length of the race, so that means that the size of the file is too big to share within the game, and the drivers are going to need to save the replays because it's going to be up to them to provide video evidence for our stewarding staff if necessary here this week. But what I can do is I'll have my replay, lost my train of thought, pardon me, I'll have my replay saved so I can still at least access the Pro Division race from my point of view. It's not going to be exactly what the drivers are seeing from their point of view. That's why we get them to save their replays so we can actually see how they see it, because you'd be surprised at how many different POVs these racers have on the same racetrack due to servers, due to internet connections, right? So what we call lag and net coding. You would be surprised. So, you know, I can use that to at least find positioning on the racetrack when the timer runs out. You know, if a driver runs out of fuel and another driver grabs that position from them before that 3-minute timer runs up, you know, they're going to grab that position on. That could be a potential podium position. That could be bonus points, right? So it's very important that we do we're thorough. We have to be very thorough in a championship like this. GT Sport really gave us detailed information when it came to lobby races. They really had a great system refined by the end of the 5 or 6 years that GT Sport came when GT7 finally came out. So I'm hoping that, you know, we're getting to that point now where GT7 starts getting these quality of life updates for the servers. I suspect we should start hoping to see something like that in the new year, obviously after the World Tour Live Championships wrap up here this month. And I'm hoping that is the next focus, the next goal from Polyphony Digital is definitely quality of life update for server stability, because we really could use some love here on the servers so we can continue doing this stuff, right? So we can continue racing for the communities, we continue racing for the fans, and we continue trying to fundraise for great organizations worldwide. I mean, we have the platform to do it here. Gran Turismo has a great platform here to do stuff like this, but we do need a little bit of help from them here. As the game continues to progress, as you know, the game gets older, the servers are getting a little more unstable. It seems like this year. It's been one of our toughest seasons as far as server stability goes, and you know, it makes it tough to properly schedule championships when you're having stability issues. You know, drivers are disconnecting that don't typically disconnect from races. You know, when you're seeing things that are not typical. You know, it was a tough season this season on that front. So you know, we still have races showing up, and that's the important thing. And all the racers are carrying on their windshield banners as well, a couple of important things. I know it's not that simple to see, obviously, when the cars are in motion, but they've got St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital on the windshield banners, and they've all got a very special decal we had made up for Gran Turismo 7 for this championship, and it's just a very simple white circle background with a green ring in just inside of that white circle, and then just a simple number 7. That says VCS underneath of it, and that is to signify Paul's number, you know, number 7. And at the end of this championship season, GT45 Gaming will be officially retiring the number 7 from our racing numbers list in the GT45 Gaming server. The number 7 in GT45 Gaming will ever and forever and always be Paul Bloomstrom's number, and will always be remembered as Paul Bloomstrom's number. So unfortunately for our man Nolander, he's going to have to give up his number 7 in our server, because we will be retiring that number at the end of our all-star race here this season to honor Paul like legends should be honored. I mean, plain and simple. We may even get something made up, some kind of video to do that too. I haven't quite sorted that out yet. Oh, I was like, what happened here? The cameraman must have fell off his perch there for a second, and the camera got a little mistrimmed, because it sure made it look like Super had a moment on the racetrack there, didn't it? Miss Davey is here in 5th place. We got Sheriff in 6th. We got Jay in 7th position. So let's keep rocking and rolling here. Dylan, 25 seconds up the road in the race lead. The Pokemon Porsche leading the charge. Nice little mustache there in front of the car as well. I kind of like that livery. All right, we got JP here in the 2nd place, and he's just in that beautiful purple, pink, and white schemed RA Racing Asylum livery. JP makes all these liveries for the Race Asylum team. He's been making all these liveries for all the Race Asylum drivers throughout the championship season here this season. I think there was like 7 or 8 of them, maybe 9, throughout all the divisions this championship season. So definitely a lot of interest and a lot of support coming from the Race Asylum organization. So you know, thank you to them. Obviously, thank you to Team Rad and Team 1010s as well. Lots of drivers coming in competing this season. We have some drivers from the VPR racing team as well, Victory Pace Racing. We have some racing team from the NLR. Where else are they coming from? Off the top of my head, I can't quite think. We do have some individual racers here as well. You know, Dylan doesn't carry a team tag, so to speak, so I'm not actually sure if he's on a team, or he's just a solo warrior, so to speak, a unsigned racer, I guess, in the world of racing. I guess is the best way to call it, a free agent. There we go. We'll call him a free agent. He's a free agent. He just chooses to be independent. That's the word I'm looking for, independent. The racers do that. There's nothing wrong with that as well. So lots of support being shown here throughout the championship season as well from great organizations from all across the board. And hopefully we see, more teams and more racers step in for our next championship season. We don't know what we're going to do yet for, obviously, a year from now. That's something we'll decide depending on where the game is and what's available to us within the game, right? So only time will tell. Only time will tell. What does Kaz have up his sleeve for us over the next, call it 6 months, before we really get serious about getting the details together for Season 2. So, major championships coming from GT45 Gaming in the near future. We are going to put those on hold, and the big reason for major championship holds are going to be server stability. Like I said, I really would like to see some quality of life updates for the servers in GT. If we can get a little bit more stability back in the servers of GT, I would definitely, obviously, start considering a next major championship, 10-12 week series. But in the meantime, we're just going to do some community drop-in style events, and what we're going to do is we're going to schedule this stuff through Simulate Pro. So if you want to get into the races on the different platforms, on the different nights, you will have to obviously be very into the Discord server, because all the announcements are always made in the Discord server, but also stay tuned to the socials. We'll be posting all that information on the socials as well, and most importantly, just keep an eye out on SLP. Come join the GT45 gaming community on SLP, and you'll never miss anything that we drop. So everything's going to be ran through SLP, and the reason for that is because now we have an option in Gran Turismo for private lobbies. So the registered drivers will get a message with the lobby code when the lobby goes up on Gran Turismo 7, because we can't set the code apparently, and in the Discord server, and then only those drivers that are registered for the day will be able to get into the lobby. And much of the same thing over on Project Motor Racing right now as well. They finally got the game to a point where we can actually give it a legitimate crack and go and play, and it does have potential for championship racing over there as well. So with that being said, they have much larger grid sizes with 32 cars, and it does give us some great ability for really great multi-class options and things like that, or just giant racing grids. So I mean, we'll have events on different platforms. We have iRacing NASCAR 2025 the community is into here at GT45 Gaming. I enjoy the game, so we'll probably get some of that going here in the near future as well. There's other organizations out there that we're kind of taking part of some of those events with them as they feel it out, and we're there learning and also racing and trying to find the pros and cons of drop-in events on NASCAR as well. So we have lots of things that we're going to be doing in the new year, but we're going to be breaking it down to a no commitment championship racing, I guess is the best way to put it, where if you're available that day, you sign in on SLP, you come in, you race, you have some fun. There's no standings, there's nothing like that being kept. It's just community engagement, community racing, keep us on track, keep us together, and to keep us pushing each other until the next major championship comes. We just don't know where that's going to be, what platform, which platform is going to be the best suited for the next major championship. There's a lot of question marks, and GT7 is always our go-to, but I also do, and like I said, we need to see some little better server stability. I don't like seeing drivers disconnect from the races. I mean, it happens, but we've seen a higher frequency of that this season over others. And it's typically drivers that don't, disconnect. Even my connection this season has been spotty at best, it seems like, because the drivers in my lobby are even suffering from that same fate. So, in past seasons where my lobby is always solid and maybe one or two drivers have a different POV than the rest, this season is different. This season, almost every driver has a slightly different view of what's going on around them on the racetrack. So, boy, this race is shaping up crazy. Here we got literally the last lap going on here. I'm just so busy talking. Dylan in the race lead here. He's 23 seconds up the road. Where is he on the racetrack? So when this timer runs out, it's game over for these racers. I mean, there is not another lap. So it is 11 lap race here today for our racers. Dylan is 22 seconds up the road and has this well in control. Now we're talking about this championship discussion. We have Jakey here in second place. He needs to stay in second place. The Super sitting right there on the podium with him in third place. That's going to negate a point here. So Super technically still has a 1 point advantage over ERA's Jakey. However, Jakey's holding fast a lap point right now. That gives him 2 bonus points, which gives him a 1 point edge as it stands right now on the racetrack. and could potentially end up our champion. We are going to see this championship potentially separated by one mere point here today in the Pro Division. Wow. Did not expect that. Did not expect that. 30 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, before the timer runs out. Each one of our racers will have 3 minutes and 20 seconds to finish their season in the best possible position they can, maximize the best possible points they can to become the Pro Division Vegas Cup Season 1 champion. And right now, this man in second place is carrying that torch. Unofficially. That could change once official results come out, and that's why we got to say unofficially. I mean, the way it looks right now, that's how it sits. But until we factor in all the factors, factor in all the drop rounds, double and triple check the numbers and all the statistics, we can't 100% say. So with a mere 1 point difference, we can definitely talk to the two gentlemen here today in the podium interviews, but we definitely can't fully officially say that Jakey is champion until we do those point standings as it sits right now, but projected to look like the Vegas Cup Season 1 champion, and I know that is going to hit a little soft spot in his heart today, even knowing that the potential is there that he did it, regardless of what the official results are right now. So pretty incredible. What a drive today from ERA's Jakey. What a drive today from Team Rat Superboy. What a battle between those two this season. Dylan was never out of this discussion from this championship from day one. And I mean, he's given it everything he's had all season long as well. And he's unfortunately going to fall victim to the drop rounds and just fall a little short here this season and not three-peat those championships from GT45 Gaming. We will see a new champion here this season and a new defending champion moving into our next major championship. So, whew. What a day. What a day. What a way to end the race. Miss TV is here now in 4th place. With Sheriff in 5th. We got JP in 6th and JSET here in 7th place. And we did lose ATB for whatever that reason was. Alright, so the timer's ticking. We got about a minute left. And I don't even know if our race leader is going to get across the finish line in time before the timer runs out to take the checkered flag here. So we can see the whole lineup here on the screen. So I mean, all we're going to do at this point here is we're going to wait till it gets to about that 20 seconds to go mark, and we're going to go through the field. And I got to tell you what, the weather is looking quite creepy all of a sudden too as well. I mean, it has gone immediately overcast here. There's potential rain coming on this racetrack, so what great timing for that 90-minute timer to shut down this race here as the drivers are coming in towards the final seconds. It is going to be Dylan with a round 10 win. Congratulations to Dylan here. Absolutely great racing from him. And oh, it may be raining. Ooh, Jakey made a mistake there, but he has a big enough gap. He's not panicking. He made a mistake coming out of the last corner, heading onto the back straight. Supra is too far away to take advantage of that, but again, the weather has changed. The track has most certainly cooled down. You can see everybody sliding around here a little bit. We got no moisture on the moisture meter, but it is Dylan here. Oh, and he does make it across that start-finish line. GG's, Dylan with the race win here, and he gave it everything he got, but he's going to fall just a little short, I think, of that championship. I think he's going to fall about 2 or 3 points back of these guys here at the end of the once it's all said and done. So, I mean, Jakey, yeah, very tense moment right there. He almost threw it all the way, but had a big enough gap over Supra. Pit strategy paid off here today. And it's going to be a P2 finish here for ERA's Jakey and a potential Vegas Cup Series championship win race right there coming from that man. Supra from Team Rad here in 3rd place, defended that championship with everything he had in that Ferrari here today and possibly fell 1 point short. Absolute amazing effort, absolutely great drive here from Supra, and to find himself on that last podium spot to finish off his great season here, regardless of just shy of a championship or not. Fantastic stuff here coming from Team Rad Supra Boy. Great race from him. It's going to be Sheriff Doofy coming in a very close 4th place in behind. JP is in 5th place, rolling up that front straight with J-Set here in 6th position, and oh my, 10 tenths Misdevious ran out of fuel, ladies and gentlemen, and we speculated on that. That could cost you a very late in the race, and it most certainly has cost Misdevious a couple of positions here on the racetrack as she falls from 4th all the way down to the back of the grid as the car is just rolling under its own power. Oh, you hate to see it. JP is going to get across that line here as well. Great job there from JP. J-Set coming here. Everybody's just slowing it down to try and get everybody across. Unfortunate for Miss D. She's not going to make it across in that next minute, I don't think. You just never know. But wow, what can we say, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, what an absolute crazy race finish. I mean, it looked like Supra had this thing in the bag, and then the last 18 minutes of this race, Jakey comes out of nowhere and absolutely dials himself in, does what he needs to do, gets the points he needs to get, and potentially wins himself another championship here from GT45 Gaming. What an absolute incredible race today. I'm floored, chat. I didn't expect that this point system was going to bring us right down to literally the checkered flag here today, and that's exactly what happened. We went to the checkered flag here today for this championship in the Pro Division. Paul, buddy, that's your doing, isn't it, my man? I mean, my God. Wow. Absolutely incredible. Come on, Miss D. She's so close. She's not going to quite make it. Oh, it's going to cut her off just short. Oh. Wow. Incredible, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely incredible. But congratulations to Dylan for a round 10 win. Big win there for Dylan. And we'll have to wait and see, I mean, ultimately how all of that shakes out at the end of the day. I mean, that was a crazy race. Great battles at the very beginning of that race. And I mean, what a finish. I mean, wow. From the Vegas Cup Series, ladies and gentlemen, the Pro Division. Round of applause for our pros. Let's get some clapping emojis up in the chat here for our Pro Division this season. Wow, they really poured their heart and soul into this season, and they gave us a crazy championship. They gave us a crazy championship here today. So, wow, what else can we say? Let's take it to the next screen. Let's head over to our interview scenes here. Let's go talk to our racers. I mean, let's go see what they have to say. So just bear with here. I gotta do a little bit of setup to get prepared for this, but I don't need to leave you guys to do this. I can't wait to hear what they have to say. This should be interesting. All right. I just got to do a little bit of shimmy, shake, and jiving on the PC here. We got to get a couple of files open to get in the right places. Got to close one on this computer. There we go. All right. Computer's having a moment, apparently. Don't do this to me now, computer. Come on. This is the first major hiccup we've had here. Let's keep rolling. You got this. You got this. Jakey's coming in here. I am unable to stay for interviews. Thank you for a great series put on. Had great fun throughout with some close finishes for sure. Pleasure to be able to run the series for Paul. Thank you to the Bloomstroms. He will always be thought about. Appreciate you, Jakey. I kind of figured you probably wouldn't be able to make it for the interviews here today. Before you leave the chat, though, Jake, absolutely great job this season, and you may have done it. You may have beaten Super by 1 point. So, unofficially, congratulations, my guy, and I guess we'll see what happens when the points are official, right, Chad? I mean, that's all we can do. Bear with me here. I'm still trying to get into my Discord server. It's being a little bit of a pain in the butt. All right. So usually when this happens, I gotta open the task manager, I gotta hard shut down Discord, and then I can refire Discord, and it'll work. So bear with. Everything was running so great today, and then that happened. All right. So come on, Discord. Let's go. I'm coming, drivers. Just bear with me here. Wow, it is really being fussy. Very fussy. Come on. I don't know why it won't open. There we go. Got it. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so here we go. We finally found our way into the comms booth. Apparently, we got lost along the way. We just smelt a coffee shop and we had to take a little detour, no. Apologies. All right, so, I mean, what a race this season. The points were so close coming into the championship season here today, and it came down to the three drivers that finished on the podium here today. It came down to Dylan, it came down to Superboy, and it came down to Jakey. And I mean, 2 points separating Super and Jakey before we head into the race here today, and only 9 points separating Dylan from the top of the field here. And I mean, Dylan did everything in his power here today to charge up that field, charge up those standings to secure this third straight championship here. But depending on how the drop rounds fall into round 10 yet, of course, that could be potential there. But I think that between these three drivers at the end of the season, the official results, we're going to be looking at no more than 4 points separating the three drivers, I think, here. So pretty incredible racing all season long from everyone, but especially these three drivers. And Jakey, who said his piece in the YouTube chat, as he can't make the interviews, so we appreciate Jakey, and we'll talk a little bit more about Jakey's race after we talk to Superboy and Dylan. So we're going to go to Superboy first. Absolutely great racing out there today. I mean, you came in with a tough task. You're coming in with a points lead. You're the defending championship points leader coming into the finale today, and you've been full of excitement and energy and confidence all season long. And you had some tough competition out on that racetrack to really have to try and beat out there today to secure that championship. And I can't definitively say that you have done that or haven't done that yet, because we do need to wait for the official results, because it is so close with how the race finished here today. But with all that being said, and being a potential champion, congratulations on a great race today. Congratulations on third place and a great season for yourself. And break it down for us today. Tell us how it went out there.
Well, it felt better than expected. I thought I might as well see if I can try to tough it out on hards, but it's just done more harm than good. I was even suggested that, but I thought I might as well give it a try. Never again. Never again. Hards are terrible. Which basically wasted my opportunity to use the sauce, which I could potentially do 2 laps fine, but and I tried desperately to try to at least get just get that points buffer off of Jakey, but he was just too quick. He was too quick.
I mean, you weren't the only driver to come out with the hard tire compound at the beginning of the race either. You weren't alone on that strategy process or that thought process. So I don't know if that process was necessarily wrong. There are other drivers in the field here today that started on that with varying results as well. So I think that your strategy honestly was quite sound. I think, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, this is the Nurburgring 24-hour circuit. It's called the Green Hell for a reason. It is one of the most dangerous and one of the most technical racetracks in the world, and it's one of the hardest ones to race on. You know, side by side, nose to tail, and for a very elongated period of time. So it was tough racing out there today, and you know, every little mistake and every major mistake adds to time on the Nurburgring, and over the course of 90 minutes, you know, that time potentially could be a deciding factor. But I don't necessarily think that it was the hard tires that may have done that for you, my man. So don't be disappointed. I can hear the disappointment in your voice, and you know what? Your progression and your improvement and your growth this season coming into such a competitive field and being right there, right to the checkered flag at the end of the season, you should be proud of yourself and you should be absolutely tickled pink with how your day went today, Supra, because it was a great race. It was a great championship. And at the end of the day, you're making a difference in the world by great racing and having fun with your friends and community. So don't definitely be disappointed with your race here today because I think you had a very great race. And, you know, that's racing. That's just how it goes. And if it ends up being a championship loss for you, I mean, you lost to some of the best in the community, so you can't be disappointed by that either. So I just want to let you know that you've had a great season, and don't be down on yourself because you didn't get that initial result you were hoping for here today. But how was it out there? You guys got really great weather conditions out there today, so did that change the way that your strategy maybe played out today as well a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually more surprised about facing off against like the likes of Tom and Jakey. I thought I was going to struggle in split one, but apparently not. With what 3, 4 podiums, we got podium at Spa, podium at Deep Forest, a win at Suzuka, and a podium here, and a podium at Degner. I'm actually more surprised about that. So I'm happy with that. And the Ferrari done its job very well. And yeah, uh, I did. It was a lot. I was thinking it's going to rain a couple of times where it started getting very gloomy, but it never went to be. I thought, I wish rain just causes a twist to the tail, but it just never came. But hopefully, if hopefully, and I say I respect to Jakey, but he's just a ridiculously quick driver, ridiculously quick driver, and I can't really do much about it. Really can't do much.
Well, needless to say, I mean, you had a task today. You gave it 1,000% out there on the racetrack, and I can guarantee you, and I know for a fact that team owner, Team Rad's Nolander is going to be so proud of you for everything you've accomplished this season, and you should be too. And I know that the fans and the viewers watching from home and the Bloomstrom family watching right now are very proud of what you've accomplished this season as well. So, I mean, congratulations on a great season, and the floor is yours. Any final remarks before we head over to Dylan and chat with Dylan?
I'd say thanks for the Blomstrom family for being here, and I'm happy to do these sorts of races. I'm helping the community out. I really do, and hopefully Nolander will be very, very proud. I've done everything I can to try to win the championship for him. I can't do much more about it. I would like to thank everyone, absolutely everyone.
Absolutely, and I assure you that you did not disappoint Nolander. I can promise you that, my friend. You had a fantastic season, and congratulations to Superboy, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a hashtag Supra up in the chat. Let's show him that love out there. Absolutely great season finish, top 3 finish guaranteed for Superboy here, and a potential pro split championship. It's that close. I can't tell you guys officially. So, but great job, Supra, and we'll see you on the next race, my man. We'll see you in the next championship, and you know, next race is a new race, my man. Next race is a new race. We appreciate you.
No worries.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, what a competitor out there. And like I said, out of all the racers this season, he was the one in the Discord. He had the most energy. He had the most confidence, and he never really let anything deter him this season. And that is, that's the workings of a great racer right there. So he's young. He's got lots of life to live and lots of racing to do in his career here yet. He's only going to continue to get better and better, and championships are going to be a dime a dozen, I'm sure, at some point in his career. So maybe he wins next season. Who knows? But Dylan, we know Dylan quite well here at GT45 Gaming. Dylan's coming in as our prototype champion and our multi-class series champion from the last 2 seasons, and boy, he gave it a ride again this championship season here in the Vegas Cup Series. He was always in the discussion every single week. And having missed only 1 race this season didn't really seem to hurt him too much in the standings. However, just a little bit too big of a point spread, I think, here for him today to overcome at this giant racetrack. But man, 1000% effort coming from you, Dylan. Massive congratulations. I mean, it always feels good to win a race at the Nurburgring 24-hour, never mind a finale. I mean, talk us through your day. What were you thinking out there today?
Yeah, I mean, big surprise for me. I kind of came into this race with my doubts, being the green hell and starting from the back or the middle of the grid, and making a kind of last minute car change, deciding to go to the Porsche. Also considering that the Porsche seems to be, one of the worst off the line, and you don't want to be stuck in a train of cars around the Nurburgring. You're losing so much lap time, stuck in traffic there. So it was kind of a big gamble on my part. But from doing my testing this morning, it was the car I felt I could get the most pace out of around this track. So I had to commit to it and give it a go. I think the biggest thing for me was the start of the race, just having a clean first lap and making as many small moves as I can to get ahead on the grid, despite the Porsche even being slow off the line. um, my plan for the first lap was kind of just go through, just take it slow, take it easy, let's just go single file, get into the groove of the Nurburgring. But I just felt like I had so much more pace on that first lap, making putting pressure on the drivers ahead, making these little moves to maybe overtake in unconventional areas, and it worked out in every instance there, and it kind of gave me that the space to open up the gap after the first lap. If you would ask me at the start of this race if I was going to be leading the race at the end of lap 1, yeah, there's no shot there. But everything kind of came together, and I just put my head down and just sent it to the checkered flag.
Absolutely. And I mean, it looked like you made very little mistakes to no mistakes, or very small mistakes throughout your whole race here today once you got out in that clean air. And I mean, obviously, that's a big contributing factor at the NERB 24-hour circuit is minimalizing mistakes and time loss on the racetrack due to those mistakes. And, you definitely did that here today. But you had yourself at one point in the race with half the race, a little under half the race left there, where you were in a serious discussion to potentially overtake that or force a tiebreaker into Super here in the championship as well. Now, as you're on the racetrack here and things are developing, and you're watching or hearing from your race engineer which drivers are swapping which positions on the racetrack and behind you, and knowing that you have a comfortable gap, I mean, does that start to play into your mind as the race is closing to an end? Are you sitting there trying to calculate that in your head? Okay, well, right now I'm sitting at this many points. I was this many points behind, or is it just I'm so focused at just not making that mistake?
I come into these races trying to be locked in, but it absolutely was affecting me this race. I think early on, I think Jakey fell behind. Supra was on the alternate strategy, and I was holding the fastest lap in first place. I was like, wait a minute, how many points can I wait? How many points was I off of first place? I don't know. And being distracted around this racetrack is makes it so much more difficult. But it absolutely was a factor, and it felt like it was cinema. It was like watching, my chance at a championship actually come to life in this one race here. And I gave it my all till the end.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't say that you haven't won the championship. I mean, we have to we have to take round 10 into consideration for the two drop rounds in the championship season. So, there is potential for round 10 to end up being a drop round for a racer. And because round 10 is designed to be one of the bigger points gains in the season, that could change the way things, of course, happen in the championship point standing as well. But like I said, I think either way, between yourself, Jake, and Supra, I mean, you guys are going to be separated less than a handful of points, I think, at the end of this season. And we've been through a lot of championships. We've been through a lot of other organizations' championships through commentary, plus our own hosted championships. And I've never seen a point spread so tight leading into a championship race final. So, I mean, does that add to the pressure of the race, or is it just business as usual for the pro drivers? I mean, I know you can only really speak for yourself, I suppose, but as a pro driver, does that change your mental attitude coming into the race, knowing how close the points are and a position, overall at the end of the season can be lost with one simple mistake?
Nah, for me, there was really not much to lose in this race. That's kind of in the championship. I'm comfortable with being behind, and just like on the racetrack, I kind of prefer being behind in a position where there's a lot less pressure, and there's only room for you to pull yourself forward, as opposed to being in front and having all the pressure behind you, and being worried. You know what I mean? You're a racer, you understand that feeling. So that's the same thing in the championship here. I knew I was going to be behind pretty much all season, with the likes of Jakey and Tom and Roses, and Superboy has been insanely quick, fighting tooth and nail every week. Um, I said early on I'd never planned on winning this championship with how competitive this field is, but yeah, came down to the final week. We'll see what happens.
But I mean, it's a storybook ending, honestly, for the Vegas Cup Pro Division. I mean, it comes down to a fight, one last dance, one last race, and that fight literally comes right down to the checkered flag. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. It just happens, and what a finish to a very difficult and enduring championship season. I mean, we threw everything at you guys this season. We threw the MR cars at the drivers this season. We threw racetracks we don't typically see in championships at the right drivers this season. We threw reverse layout at our drivers this season, which is very, very rare from GT45 Gaming. And of course, we finished it off with the toughest racetrack in the world. The weather was random all season long, and these guys had completely open freedom for their strategies. So, as a racer, how did you see that difference in all the, I guess, open availability of the championship compared to a more stingent championship where you have to, pick your car, that's your car for the season. If you take a change, you're going to take a penalty, blah, blah, blah. Um, in comparison to that style of championship, how did this one feel in comparison? Did it make it easier to make those on-track decisions for strategy and how you're setting up your races, or do you feel like it made it actually more difficult to set up your race from week to week, having so much open variation?
Well, I've generally been a fan of having a locked car for the season, so you pick one car from the start and you finish it out. But I think the Open Championship and allowing us to, switch cars from week to week was super beneficial for me, because I like to look at like the strengths of each car and like how they apply to the circuit for this week. And that's kind of been my Sunday morning ritual, for the last 10 weeks is open up a lobby, put the car on track, see how this one does, see how that one does, which one do I actually want to drive. And for most weeks, it's been the McLaren. And I tell you, coming into this week, I expected it to be the McLaren here as well. But there was also a major update with the game 2 weeks ago, which I think changed the BOP as some of the cars. And I think the Porsche kind of overtook the McLaren, which is why we saw a change for this week. But I kind of did enjoy, for overall this championship, being able to try a different car from week to week and finding the car that may be better for this track or the car that I'm more comfortable in with this track. So I thought that was a great addition. Um, yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It was a pretty intensive question. So, I mean, with all that being said, it was a lot of fun watching you this season. You come in as a two-time defending champion from GT45 Gaming Championship, so we knew that you were going to be racy and competitive this season. You had your reserves coming into the season, but your skill and your experience just kind of takes over when you get behind the wheel of your race cars, and you just kind of get into that rhythm and you do your thing, and you've had a great season this season. So, congratulations on the win here for today, and at least a podium finish at bare minimum here for the championship season. And I definitely can't wait to see what you have, in store for us in the next championship when we get to that point and drop the next one. But the floor is yours. It's open to you to say your thank yous to whoever out there, and say your final regards, and then we'll talk a little bit about Jakey's race, ladies and gentlemen.
Just big thank you to you, Ghost, for organizing this. All this was your vision to put together, and thank you to the Blomstrom family for allowing us to honor your son, your husband, your father, allowing us to put on this series. It's been a fantastic experience, and I hope we as racers have um, you know helped others in the world. So thank you all.
Well, thank you, and again, thank you for coming back for a return season here this season and racing again, and again, congratulations on an absolutely fantastic season, Dylan. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we don't have Jakey here to speak for himself now. Jakey is a long-standing racer here at GT45 Gaming. He's an administrator here at GT45 Gaming. He's our lead administrator here at GT45 Gaming. I mean, when I have any question that I cannot answer or a situation I cannot sort out, I go to Jake. So I'm always thrilled to see Jakey do well in the championships, and Jakey races for the enjoyment of the sport. He has such passion for motorsports racing and sim racing, and Paul was a friend to Jakey as well. So, um, I don't know how Jakey feels right now on an emotional level. I'm sure that he's probably pleased with how the race ended today. I'm sure that he figured he gave it everything he had to do what he had to do to try and lock that championship down. And I know deep down that he, even though he won't admit it, he definitely wanted this championship for Paul. And I mean, he's right there. He's possibly done it. He's possibly squeaked that 1 point advantage over Superboy here in this race today with that fast lap bonus at the end of the race. He's very well potentially our pro division champion here, and I know that that's going to mean more to him than he's going to let on. But I mean, he had an absolutely horrible start to this race today. He had a couple of wrecks. He got back in the rhythm. He started moving up the field. He made a couple of mistakes. He set himself back. He kept fighting back. He kept fighting back. He kept it cool. He kept it calm. He kept it collected. And the next thing you know, we get to the end of that last pit stop window, and there's Jakey. He's sitting up there in second place. Super's right behind him in third place with a few seconds in between them. And in good Jakey fashion, he bins it there at the end of the race to make things interesting, but still brings that Lamborghini home in second place, and may have done just enough to take a championship home. But, you know, Jakey is one of those drivers that will always stop and take the time to help a fellow racer out, even if it's his direct competition. He will take the time out of his day to go and open a lobby and give you tips and tricks, tell you where to shift, tell you why, tell you how to get better rotation. Whatever he sees that you're just doing wrong in certain areas of the racetrack, he will always help you improve those areas so that you become a better racer. At the end of the day, racers like Jake just want to continue having good, fast-paced races with other fast-paced racers. And the more door-to-door racing that they get for longer periods of time, that's the thrill, that's the desire, that's the adrenaline rush for sim racers. They want door-to-door, sweaty, hard battling for 60 straight minutes. So by helping other racers refine lines, techniques, braking points, or throttle inputs, drivers like Jakey, and he's not the only one, are helping the overall racing collective community become better, become faster. And karma is real, and it may have paid him a big one here today because he may have squeezed that championship out. I don't even think that Jakey thought he was even in the discussion for this championship, knowing that he missed 2 races this season. But there he is, right there in the discussion. The drop rounds doing what drop rounds do and evening the playing field out. And, it made for an absolutely amazing finale race here from GT45 Gaming in cooperation with Nolander Gaming and Fast Ginger Racing. I mean, all I can say is thank you to you guys and gals at home watching, the viewers. I mean, you came in, week out, you watch the content, you follow the content, you know, you share it out, you like it, you do everything you can to help St. Jude's, the Bloomstrom family, and everything around this championship succeed. And I can't thank you all enough. You are the real legends here. And now that it's over, I kind of feel like I can get some closure myself now for what happened. I've been struggling with the loss of Paul, and I have been for the whole time. It's no secret. I've been very open about that. But today was different. Today feels different. I'm an emotional wrecking behind the scenes. I've managed to keep it together pretty well today, in my professional opinion, as far as the emotions go. But this one meant a lot, and now that it's over and it's all settled in, and we still got an all-star race to go here yet, I'm excited. I can't wait for that all-star race. But you know, I just watched the winner's circle, the GT45 gaming community, No Landers community, and Fast Juniors community do something so amazing. They show support to a fallen friend, to their family. You know, these are not members of the community that we talk to every day. They're not in a Discord server active conversing with us every day. You know, we chit chat through Facebook posts and stuff like that, right? You know, this is not, you know, gamers playing with gamers, and they've been here for every second of every minute of every tire turn of this championship. So to the Bloomstrom family, thank you for letting us do this. Thank you for allowing the community to find their way, their closure with the situation, and allow us to help the community back in return in Paul's name. We wouldn't have done this without your guys' graces and without your guys' help. So you being here and you being a vital part of what this is and what this has become and what this will be in the future, thank you. I mean, I can't say thank you enough. We're going to continue the fundraising efforts, so the link will stay live, ladies and gentlemen, for as long as I let it stay live, essentially. We're going to leave that live until the end of the All-Star race. So we still have about 5 or 6 weeks of fundraising efforts left, and we're going to continue to push that through regular content here on GT45 Gaming. Every time I go live, we will make sure that we have that in there. We'll talk about it. And we'll talk about the championship a little bit to let people know what we're doing, and hopefully we continue to grow that number higher and higher and higher, and get to that goal. I mean, if we can hit that goal, you know, we're helping one full family through a really, really important time and a really important time of year. So, you know, small is mighty. That's the phrase of this weekend. Our children are small, but they are so mighty. They are so strong. They don't give up. They just don't. So we can't give up on them. We need to do everything in our power to help them. And the best way we can do that right now is St. Jude's. They are the top dogs in leading cancer research for children. They can help. So help them, help you. I love you guys so much. I appreciate you all so much. Congratulations to all of our racers, to all of our champions, to all of our viewers, to all of our admin staff, my stewarding officials, and to the community in general. This was a big one. It was a smashing success in my opinion, and I can't wait to see what Vegas Cup Series Season 2 has in store, and who's going to come and challenge our yet to be named champion here in the Pro Division. I mean, what can we say? Stay tuned for the socials. We'll probably go live with that announcement once we have all that official as well for everybody, just to get that content out there so we don't skip a beat. Within that official announcement, we should have all the All-Star race details for everybody as well. So we'll have a full package deal announcement for everybody in about a week's time. Maybe we'll come in live Sunday at the regular racing time to do that announcement. I will keep everybody posted. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, remember, you all matter. This is why we're doing this, to show you guys and gals that you matter. You matter to me, you matter to the community, and you matter to yourselves. Stay winning, and we'll catch you all on the next one. Remember St. Jude's, keep them in your heart, and donate today.
Inside me, son of a god. I'm like a titan that's rising, no, just you watch. I'm stepping into fate. There is no time to waste. I've got that lightning inside me. This is how legends are made. cranking up on the throttle, victory is mine. Show you the harder the battle, harder I fight. I've come too far to quit. Step back, I'm going in. I'm cranking up on the throttle. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. Like